Over the last year and a half, I've survived 1,000 days with Create in hardcore Minecraft. This video is the entire journey from start to finish, so you can join me in making some of the most insane and over-the-top Create mod builds ever. I think we've all seen those perfect start in hardcore Minecraft videos, but I wanted to do something a bit more my style by combining hardcore Minecraft with the Create mod. I started up the world like any other and set out to complete 3 goals in this video: to find diamond, set up a base to live in, and get everything needed to make grass. And with that long list of stuff to get done, let's get going. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. If I spawn in a savannah or something, that was just gonna be it right there for the series. Okay, things are actually looking even better. I'm not gonna punch down any trees, I'm going right to the village. Let's just steal a bed, there we go. What do we got in this chest? Okay, food problem solved temporarily. Give me all these hay bales. 5 iron ingots, that is a solid start. Normally I'd just be going for coal, but this is a Create series, so I gotta get some of this andesite. This is like diamonds right here. A stack of andesite, that should be good. And now to iron. Okay, I feel like it's time to put some of this stuff to use and actually get a full set of tools and maybe a shield or something. Okay, all the iron is done. I don't have any wood. Oh my god. Honestly though, it's no problem. I'll just go destroy the cave house. Except I actually need to be careful that I don't get killed doing this. I kind of feel like this is the same as when you leave part of a tree floating in the air and it won't let the leaves despawn. Okay, now to do the tools. Pickaxe and a new axe, of course, for dismantling other cave houses. Rage, you know that using an iron axe is better than using an iron. Guys, I know. I did this just to trigger you guys. 2 iron for the memes? That's totally worth it. What is the protocol for torches? Do I just pretend that everything is appropriately lit up and mobs are not constantly spawning around me right now? I feel like it's a little bit weird, but I'll do it. Okay, now I think it's just getting iron and racing to get diamond gear so I can be done with mining for the episode. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ask and you shall receive. I gotta mine this iron over here first because I saw it and I can't not do it. I'm thinking I make some iron armor just because this would be a really embarrassing place to die. Okay, time to head down. I hear a sufficient amount of mobs have spawned down there, so maybe is there an easier way? Okay, this seriously wasn't for a single diamond. Branch mining, new best friend. Caving is dead to me. Okay, come on, 8 vein. That was a 7 vein. I can't be mad at that. I mean, it could have been an 8 vein. And we have finally reached Y level -58. I will be back when I have a full set of diamond. That's it, right there, 32. I think that's enough to make everything and have 2 left over with my already crafted diamond pickaxe. There it is. Oh my gosh, is this finally my way out? That's the ocean. You know what? This is great too, because I can get kelp right now, and this is really important to have, but it's usually such a pain to get. Oh my god, I got so excited I started drowning. You know, it didn't occur to me that my inventory is probably only gonna be able to take a stack of this. Guess that's why it's really important that I get towards goal 2 now, which is to find a place to set up a base. What is this terrain generation over here? And there's a ruined portal down here too, and a mine shaft over there. Don't mind if I do. Not really anything too fancy in here. Obviously, I'll take the golden apple, but now it is actually time to get towards goal 2, which is to find a place to set up shop and start doing some Create stuff. But I do need a bunch of different types of wood, so I'm feeling like I should probably get a little bit of that while I'm here. Otherwise, I'm gonna kick myself later, and maybe some saplings too. A stack of spruce logs, a stack of birch logs, and some spruce saplings. Now it's finally time to start looking for a base and dark oak. That is gonna be a little bit of a problem, I think, to find. Turns out it was a problem, since I had to spend like 20 minutes of my life running through some of the worst biomes in all of Minecraft without finding a single dark oak tree. At one point, I did come across a forest, but it was just spruce trees, so I just continued on through some of the weirdest terrain generation I think I've ever seen. Eventually, I stumbled across the dark oak forest I've been searching for basically my whole life, and after admiring it for like a whole 10 seconds, oh my god, it's beautiful, I proceeded to just tear the whole thing down. I feel like this right here is the spot, but there's like a billion trees here. So I'm just gonna dump all my stuff here, and then we are finally gonna do the first create thing so far in this video. Like I said though, we gotta do some crafting. So I think the first thing is we need some andesite alloy, and it pains me to have to make it this way, but there we go, andesite alloy. And then we gotta take some oak logs, we gotta strip these bad boys and make us some andesite casing. Give me some shafts, a mechanical press, and one last thing. So I don't really have a good place to put this right now, but I am gonna need to hand crank out some pressing of some ingots. I really mainly need iron sheets to make a mechanical saw, because you guys know that that is the fastest way to commit deforestation. Okay, make sure it works. There we go. Bonk it up, and there's the mechanical saw. I think I have everything now, so it's time to commence deforestationizing. You know, just while I'm doing this, because I know people are going to bring this up, I will do the thing where I connect the trees. I think it works like this. If this doesn't work, it's going to be the most annoying and stupid thing ever. I hate you guys so much. Hey, that wasn't too bad. Okay, I take it back. Deforestationizing. Okay, I think the area is finally pretty much good to go, so I can start building. And some more good news, I did have more gathering I needed to do, but I've got pretty much every block that I could possibly need to design the house that I'm planning on building, along with pretty much everything I need to put all the cool create stuff inside the house once it's done. Well, the building progress is going pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it would be easier. It's really difficult, but the biggest issue is I've run into a little bit of a resource snag. So I'm cooking down some more stone to finish these bottom walls, and I'm actually out of logs pretty much, and I need a lot more. So I've made this miniature spruce forest over here. I'm hoping that this is enough. I don't think it will be enough, but the sun is setting, and then it's back to attempting to finish the first level of this house without running out of resources for a second time. Yeah, that really didn't take long for me to run out of resources again. I had to do a bunch of resource gathering before I returned to building the house because I'm getting really tired of having to keep starting and stopping. Now this is how you get spruce wood. Here we go. Excuse me? There's no way I just grew these massive trees and I can't cut them down. What? What if we only have one down here? Please work. Oh my gosh, thank gosh. That's so dumb, but I'm extremely glad that I checked this out before I went and chopped down the entire tree. Well, this just has to be enough. I mean, normally I joke around and I say that, but this... I think it looks okay right now, but it needs some extra color to really pop. We need all the good stuff to make this legitimately look like a place worth living and not a place where some villain would live. See, now I think this already looks way better. I want to fill up this entire area over here with create stuff today, so I need to leave a little bit of iron in the bank. Now, I do already have some of the things that I have bookmarked, but still got to make all of this stuff, which probably isn't going to be that fun. Now, my goal for this is to actually make things look like a house. A lot of times I do super compact, efficient builds, and I want to make them efficient, but for the interior of this house, it needs to just look nice. So let's do basin right here, mechanical mixer right here, and I want it to look like it's almost like a kitchen countertop, maybe spruce stairs coming over, put the depot here, and the mechanical press on top of that, and then I got a millstone. This isn't going to be super useful, I guess, but there are certain things that I will want to crush down, and it'll be nice to just have one of these here. And another thing I do want to also do in a similar vein is I want to have a washing station. But so now I got to put this encased fan down somewhere. And this is a little bit awkward because I need to hold water somewhere over here. And the only thing I can think of that doesn't look totally awful is we put it right here. If we put the trapdoor here and here, then I can put the water right inside here. And as long as this is open, it'll blow onto this and wash whatever's here. I think that's it for actual machinery though in here. So now I got to figure out how I want to get all the power to this stuff. Our only option for this one is either to put a cogwheel here or put one here. But I think the best bet is just going to be over here and then run it under the floor. And you know what? I totally forgot to make gearboxes. Well, hopefully 8 is enough because I'm burning through resources. For this, we're going to need to run a shaft over from here, slap down a vertical gearbox over here. We can just slap down a second one there, connect these, and we can also cover all of this stuff up. We're also going to have to run power up here. Our best bet is probably to start with some gearboxes and just put one right there, connect them with the shaft, and again, we can cover these up. So all I need to do is get power into this vertical gearbox right here. I really hate to do this, but I'm thinking the easiest way is just going to be to put water wheels right here, and I can probably keep it looking pretty clean, but I'm gonna have to get rid of these. I think it's gonna be going up right here. So if we bring this down with a shaft and then vertical gearbox right here, and oh my gosh, I actually am running out of shafts. There we go. I had enough in my inventory, thankfully, to do that. Now I need though to get power into this vertical gearbox, and I'm not having a ton of room to work with. Actually, you know what? We should do cogwheels because I need to gear this up one single time before it gets to powering the mixer. So I do always just have the option of going like that, and then we can just fill it up with water. Moment of truth. Let's put down the water and see. Is it not blowing, or do I not have particles on? There it is. I'm gonna put a barrel down right here, and then I gotta get down here to put this hopper on here somehow. There we go. There's the hopper. Now it's time to make this area look nicer though, and the first thing I want to do is kind of cap off the top here to make it look, again, kind of like a kitchen. So let's just put some barrels down up here. I got some slabs in here, and then we can mix it up over here, and maybe we just use stairs or something like that. Yeah, that looks okay. It's time to put down some lanterns and some plants. So I'm thinking we hang one lantern right over here, and I want to put a plant either here or here. That's probably right here. Here's probably better. So we'll do an oak sapling, but on top of that, I collected a bunch of red wool earlier, and that's because I want to put down carpet in here. I think it looks really good. The red and the green, it all comes together really nicely. I do need to bring my regular stuff in here, so I'm thinking a crafting table right here, but I don't want this to just sit out here. So let's cordon it off. If I use trapdoors, this might look weird, but maybe it'll look really cool. Now I also need to do a furnace, and I did make a blast furnace. I made it because it looks different. I am going to be totally honest with you guys. I have no idea what the difference between a furnace and a blast furnace is. I made it because it looks different, and then we can do a regular furnace up here, and we'll do the same thing with the trapdoors right over here. So we got, again, another counter here, and then we can hang a lantern. Maybe we just do another plant. The only thing I don't know is, do I want to extend the carpet? Does this look better? Yeah, I like that. There's still one thing that I want to do, and that is getting brass. Now, brass is going to be extremely critical to the progression through the create mod, but I've been putting it off because that means going to the nether. And being my typical proactive self, I did not grab any obsidian, which means I am going to look for a nice surface pool of lava somewhere around here. Wait, what? Is that a ruined portal over there? Our luck is turning around. Okay, we got a little bit of lava, and we got an enchanted golden apple. Oh yeah, this is the good stuff right here. Surely there's enough obsidian here to fix this portal. Oh my gosh, there actually is. And done. Unfortunately, I actually need a lot of stuff before I can go in there. The important tools that I spent majority of the episode getting are basically gone, and I have no diamonds. So I think I've done it. I've figured out a solution. Just find more diamonds, right? New pickaxe and iron sheets for the blaze burner. And please don't be a bad nether seed. Okay, well, not great. Time to get as far away from this biome as I can. Okay, please have a blaze spawner. Okay, well, there's blaze, no blaze spawner. We'll get them from there. I know they spawn anywhere. Crafting table, blaze burners, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and ho-ho, 5. That's all I had stuff for, so we're out of here. The time has finally come to complete the last goal of the episode. Get under here, put a little bit of casing on this, and a blaze burner there. Then a nice stair here so we can get to it. And then we just toss a little bit of copper, a little bit of zinc, and we just, yeah, fuel that bad boy up. Man, this thing's kind of slow. That's a little bit anticlimactic. There we go. Brass. You know, the cool thing is, now that I have brass, next episode, we can destroy the Nether. I need Netherite. And not just enough Netherite to make a full set of gear, but like a stupid amount of Netherite. So I think the coolest way to get that is to make a create machine that will completely destroy the Nether all on its own. But before I can do all that fancy stuff, I've got some work to do. The house has come a pretty long way since last episode. It's kind of finally feeling more like a home now with some stuff in it than just an empty shell to make a fancy thumbnail. And as you might be able to tell, I've been doing some gathering and stuff, but that's where I run into my first problem, which is right here. Now, don't get me wrong, this chest isn't bad, right? It's a fair bit of stuff, but I don't really feel like this is the chest of a person who's ready to completely destroy the Nether. I feel like it's more the chest of someone who's ready to like mildly inconvenience the Nether, which is not what we're going for. So this video is actually going to have a two-part plan. Part 1 is going to be to completely destroy the overworld, and part 2 is going to be to completely destroy the Nether and all that good stuff. I'm going to make use of all those bookmarked blocks to make a very fancy cart contraption, but call me McDonald's because we're going to supersize it. Okay, I think that's finally it. I had to even make an additional mixer. The crafting was taking so long to do, but I think I finally have everything. Okay, now we're down in the mine and we're ready to start building this thing. First, we gotta put down some tracks for this to actually be built on. Then we got a cart assembler to attach the contraption to the furnace cart. Might as well just toss down the mine cart right now under the assembler. Then we'll just use some linear chassis to build out here in the back. Then we'll just slap a plow on right here, and I forgot my super glue. As I was saying, we make this linear chassis sticky so it holds the plow, which will recycle the rails for us to use again. Then we make it sticky here and put down a seat so I can sit here and place torches while this does its thing. Then we make this sticky up here and put down a deployer and set its filter to place rails. And then just to be safe, I'll make this sticky and put another deployer down here. And this one can place cobbled deep slate or whatever block it's going to be breaking so that there's always something for the rails to go on. It's time to build out the front face that's going to hold everything with a bunch of linear chassis. And now that that's all done, I gotta make all of these sticky. Then each one of these gets its own deployer. And these may seem pointless, but what they're gonna do is place down blocks which will then be mined. So all that nasty lava that I hear right now on the other side of this wall is never gonna kill me when I AFK on this thing. Now the only thing left is to place down the drills. It's just a bit of a pain because if you right click, well then these grab them. But if you shift right click, well then they're facing the wrong way and you gotta flip them. The only nice thing is you don't need to put drills down on the left, right, or top side of the front because I actually want those to stay full blocks of cobbled deep slate, since if I go through something like a lava or water pool, then that'll keep me protected. And then I guess technically the last but most important part is sticking a couple chests onto the back here so all the goodies can actually get collected. And if I did everything right, when I pull this lever, this whole thing should lift up. I think it worked. And if I fuel it, it should start going. Oh, it's working. Okay, now I can pick this stuff up and all I gotta do, hop on the back here and just place down torches for the next couple hours. Well, Well, the mining is finally done, but I think there's a chance I went a little bit overboard. It took about 5 to 10 hours, I'd say, of just resetting the tunnel bore and then running along with it and putting down torches and then mining out all the exposed ore, which is why there's all these random pockets on the ground and ceiling. Maybe I'll use this for something someday, but for now, it's just something that looks really cool. But now it's the moment that you've all been waiting for, the resource chest. So this is the haul from clearing out this entire area. This isn't gonna hold me over forever where I never have to go mining again, but for things like redstone and lapis and diamond, I really don't think I'll ever need to go mining for these again. Now I get to lug all this stuff back up to the base and figure out how I'm gonna process this stuff and where I'm gonna store the rest, because it's definitely not gonna fit in the chest that I have up there. Home sweet home. There's definitely not gonna be enough room in this chest for everything, but at least I won't have to go mining for a while. And this is the very last bit of the redstone, so I've got an additional redstone barrel up here now, which I'm sure I'll never even need to dig into. And then this chest is completely full with just a bunch of stuff. And now I have all these raw materials here that need to be dealt with. So I'm gonna have to add a new goal to the episode, which is kind of like a goal 1.5, which is to make an ore processing setup to actually make use of all of this. And as you can see, I've bookmarked pretty much everything I need for this, and it's gonna be a big one, so I got a lot of stuff I gotta take care of. The first thing I have to do is set up mechanical crafters to make the crushing wheels. I got 21 of them, made a nice area over here to put them down in. Now I just got to do the painstaking process of rotating every single one of these so it pushes into one single block. Unfortunately, the mechanical crafters do need power, even if it's not much, and so can you guys guess what time it is? Yeah, it's time for more water wheels, and I will get a better power setup later, but I'm just going to do the same thing I've got over there. I think the easiest way to get power from these to this right here is actually just going to be putting down a bunch of cogwheels like that, and it's it's definitely not really clean, but I think that should work. Yep, looks like it works. It's not going to be fast, and it's close to overstressing, but if I put these up here, should be a little bit better. And now that that's all good to go, it's time for another crafting montage. Well, I think this is everything that I will need to make the ore processing, and I've made a nice little staircase, nice decorative staircase, because I want to fill in this entire area right here with a really cool looking ore processing setup, and it should fit perfectly. So finally making use out of the second floor. Now I'm weird, so I'm kind of going to work backwards, and the first two things I'm going to put down are the output barrel for the experience nuggets, and then this is where everything else is going to go. And then this belt right here is going to carry all the ingots and byproducts into this barrel. And this smart chute is going to filter off the experience nuggets eventually once I have one from this depot right here into this barrel. Then we're going to have 4 basins outputting here, all using brass funnels. And of course, these are all going to have mechanical presses on top of them, since these are going to convert all the nuggets that I get into ingots, and then all the byproducts are just going to flow right through here, and nothing's even going to happen to them. Now, the big mess really happens here in the back, which we're not going to be seeing once this is covered up, but this belt right here is going to carry all of the crushed ore over to a washing area. And that means that I got to have a brass funnel coming off of this depot, but over here is where the washing area is going to be, and this is going to use a fan here, and then finally it's going to use a fan here. And then I got a whole bunch of belts that are going to go all the way around back here to loop the items down, around, and up. And then finally a chest right here that's going to take everything in, but it's only going to output in stacks of 9 because it'll avoid then random nuggets getting left in any of these basins, which means I kind of got to destroy the house real quick so that I can set this to 9. No filter needed, but it's got to be set to only output 9. And I can't forget the crushing wheels, which will go right up here. And last but not least, the input is going to be a belt right here with a hopper pushing into it, and then a brass funnel right here just so it can pick up to a stack and drop it in. And in terms of technical stuff, that is quite literally everything. It's done. The only problem is the hardest part of this whole thing is going to be hooking up the rotational power, and that is what I got to do now. I think I have enough stuff on me, but I don't have the rotational power that's even going to go in this, and then there's not a lot of room to work with in here. Oh my gosh, okay, I think that's everything. At least all of it is running in the correct direction. And just so you guys have an idea, this is what it looks like back here. Because all of these belts, right, all 4 of those belts, plus the belts up there, all have a specific direction they need to run in. Now I just need to start processing stuff and then slowly pick things out to set up the different filters. I went a little bit different this time than I normally do, and majority of the filters I set with a deny list rather than a allow list, which was actually a lot easier unless I messed something up. Moment of truth, I need to put some raw gold up in here. There we go. We got the nether quartz, the gold ingots, and we got some experience nuggets. Now it's time to load literally everything downstairs into there and sit for like 2.5 hours while it processes all of this. And I'm gonna process it in blocks. Okay, it's all in there. So assuming nothing goes horribly wrong, this thing should just be cranking out stuff for the next couple hours, and it should look really cool while it's doing it. The satisfaction from watching this is so good. Like I said, guys, it's not the most efficient thing ever, but it looks so good while it's working. So the ore processing is finally done. This thing ran for like 2, maybe 3 hours of just constant clanging metal noises as all the mechanical presses just fired off one after another. But I do think it was worth it since I got this chest right here completely filled with nuggets of experience, which look really cool. And then I got these kind of boring byproducts in this chest down here, which are useful, but they look a little bit less cool. But this chest right here is undoubtedly the most important. The resource chest is looking so much better than it was at the beginning of the episode, and that means it's time to start the final part of this episode, which is going to be to completely destroy the nether. Man, every time I come into the nether, I just hate the spawn more and more. This is just the worst spawn ever. So I need to travel into a slightly better biome so that I can set up this whole contraption that's going to destroy the nether, and it should be a lot better in pretty much any biome but that biome. Well, this seems like as good a place as any to get started here. I just need to clear out a space so I can put down the tunnel bore, adjust it a little bit, and then clear out an even bigger space to start working in. So my plan here is really not a complicated one to start. I'm going to put down the tunnel bore and I'm going to send it in one direction to make a long tunnel, just like I did in the overworld. And then that space is going to be used with a completely different contraption to clear all the way down to bedrock. And that's what's going to get me all the ancient debris. So this is going to be an absolute mess, I feel like, when I put this down. Let's just see. Actually, it was a pretty decently sized room. Now, unfortunately, these are all filled up though with deep slate. And now I get the fun of changing all the filters on these to netherrack and then putting the drills back down and orienting them properly. The only nice thing about this is netherrack gets mined a lot faster than deep slate, so this will be way quicker to clear out even the same size area as I did in the overworld. Okay, I think everything is set for the nether. All the deployers on the front have been changed. I changed this deployer here too. I'm gonna be really sad if I fuel this up and something goes wrong and it just falls into a huge thing of lava. Please do not let that happen. This is promising. Oh, hey. And it's not even just one promising start, guys. Oh gosh, okay, here's the test. It's not gonna put down a new floor, but it is going to put down enough for it to move on. I probably should have had it put down a floor because this is gonna be nerve-wracking to go get this thing back. Can I like get close enough to pick it up right now? I need to build around it. Oh, why is it so fast? Why did I make something that's so good? Let me pick you up. Oh, okay. Now it just needs to be run perpendicular to this whole area to clear out even more. So I should be good to just flick this thing on again and fuel it up again and do the exact same thing. Well, it seems like everything is pretty smooth sailing over here. It's just gonna take a little bit since it slows down a lot whenever it hits anything like nether quartz or the gold nuggets. So I'll probably have to do this maybe like another 15 or 20 times to get the initial area cleared out, and then that whole area is gonna go all the way down to bedrock. Oh no, I knew this would happen. Here we go, big boy. There we go. problem solved. Yeah, I might have to rethink this one a little bit. Oh no, I was supposed to grab that sooner. So the first stage of the Nether destruction project is finally complete, and I have to say it was way worse than I thought it was going to be. The amount of work to clear out this much space when you have a tunnel bore really isn't that bad, but as you can see around here, there's quite a fair bit of mobs that have spawned, and all these little holes in the ground and fires lit around them, those are from me failing to hit back the projectile to kill a ghast. And I've failed quite a few number of times, but now it's time to start the second stage, which is going to be clearing out this entire area all the way down to bedrock. And to do that, I'm gonna have to use my entire full inventory, which I hope has everything I'm gonna need to make another contraption. So to start things out, this whole machine is going to be running on a long line of gantry shafts that go down this direction, and to attach stuff to this and move it along, I'm going to need a gantry carriage facing down, and then I'm going to need a rope pulley under that to lower the drills down. Quite possibly the most annoying part of this, I'm going to need a long line of linear chassis, and then under them I'm going to need another long line of drills. I'm so worried that if I do this backwards, I'm just going to fall in a pit of lava. I need to be really careful of that. Oh my god, this is so awful. And of course, I also just barely don't have enough drills. This is why you always double check your numbers. Otherwise, you'll end up like me, where I now have to go all the way back and craft more drills. Oh my god. Okay, and finally, all the drills and linear chassis are down and everything should be glued together. And now it's time for the boring redstone and storage part. Oh my gosh, I think it's all done. Now I'm gonna walk you guys through all this stuff that I did. So right here, I have a deployer, which is just constantly going to be attempting to place down more gantry shafts. And then I've got 2 redstone contacts here and an observer. The observer is gonna send a redstone pulse anytime this is placed down, which happens when it gets down to bedrock and when it comes back up to here. The last piece of the puzzle is this sequence gear shift right here, which is going to move this piston over 1 block, and then the whole thing is going to happen again. And it's going to do that all the way until it gets to that far side. And finally, the coolest part is this whole thing is going to be powered by 4 magma wheels back there, because we can't get water in the Nether. Oh, and then I almost forgot this thing right here. This is what's going to be powering the deployer and the rope pulley. So it's the mobile power unit. And to keep this whole thing from overflowing, I have a nice brass funnel right down here, which is set to only dump out netherrack, so it should keep this relatively clean so it can fill up with things like nether quartz and gold nuggets, and most importantly, some ancient debris. Oh my gosh. Okay, it started going. I've been making adjustments to this thing for at least like an hour now, and I think it should be all set to run on its own. I had to adjust some of the times and some of the directions, but it should be going, and it's not going to get rid of the lava, as you can see, but it'll go all the way down, and then it will, once it gets to the bottom and can't go down any further at bedrock, it will come all the way back up. The only downside is, because I have to use a timer, there will be a 20-second delay every time it's going to move over one, which is probably gonna have to happen like 1 to 200 times. So that's definitely not great, because that's a decent chunk of time, but I can just AFK for this whole thing. The only problem is I have to reattach, where is it? This brass funnel. I have to reattach this when it comes back up, because it needs to be on the back end of this once it moves over one to have room to travel down the whole time. If everything's done correctly, please work. Over, it bugs out, so it moves it without having to break the blocks. Then it's going to take another 20 seconds, but here we go. Now it's going to go again, and then it will automatically come back up and just keep doing it over and over and over again. So thankfully, now the hard part is over, but I get to AFK until this entire area is cleared out, and then I get to come back and collect all my ancient debris. Okay, it's been a while. So after about maybe 8 to 10 hours of just sitting in this hole in the wall, the Nether miner has completely destroyed this portion of the Nether. I actually downloaded a mod so that it would get rid of all of the fog, just so that you could see the sheer amount of destruction that came from this. And you also get to see the one funny thing that does not come from a vanilla Nether destroyer, which is obviously all of this lava. The nice thing is, because of how create contraptions work, this lava doesn't actually matter. It's able to collect all the blocks perfectly fine and go right through the lava. The only reason I did this was to get a bunch of ancient debris. Now, before I set this to run and went AFK for like an entire night, I did change it, so the only things that should be stored in these chests right here will be gold nuggets, nether quartz, and of course ancient debris. So I'm guessing all of these are not totally full, but it's the moment that you've all been waiting for. It's actually the moment that I've been waiting for mostly, but I'm really hoping I got a lot from this. So let's start from the very beginning. We got a stack of ancient debris in here, and then I'll have to move these gold nuggets and nether quartz later, but I have a feeling there's going to be way too much for one inventory. Okay, nothing in here. Is that where it ends? Okay, so that's about, what is that? So 6 1/4 stacks of ancient debris. That's not too bad. I can't imagine I'll ever need nether quartz again after this, but it's gonna take a lot of trips to bring all of this stuff back. I'm really only concerned about the ancient debris right now. But now it's time to disconnect this so it doesn't ever attempt to go down and back up again if it gets reset as I reload it in. And I gotta get out of the nether because I am so tired of seeing just all this red and gray. It's awful. I think I did this to show that I actually dropped down over there when I cleared out this whole area initially. I had the great idea that I would mark where that was, knowing that eventually I would have no floor to walk on. So now I gotta dig my way back over there. Oh my god, okay, this is like the worst thing ever. Please, I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, I need to just please let reloading get rid of my momentum so I can live. Come on. Where are my blocks? Where are my blocks? Oh my gosh. Okay, it worked. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm like not even taking any damage. Do I have fire protection on some of this stuff? Oh, I do have fire protection. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's why we're all good here. We'll just pretend that didn't even happen. I almost just died with an entire 6 stacks of ancient debris. And I mean, even if I didn't have that on me, it was just gonna be the end of my world there. So anyone else having heart palpitations right now? Let me just take a look at this real quick right here. It's like you don't see it because it blends in so well. Look at that right there. I thought I would see when I eventually hit it, but this is why I didn't see. It's because the netherrack texture, man. I'm done with the nether for a very, very long time. Oh, grass. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love the grass. I genuinely don't think I've ever been so excited to come back from the nether, considering I've probably been in there now for about 15 hours straight between building everything and then AFKing. Oh man, home sweet home. And now finally, the fun part of all of this, which is going to be smelting down the ancient debris, making a bunch of netherite, upgrading all of my stuff, and unfortunately, I can't do anything with create to increase how much of the netherite scrap that I get, which it's whatever. But you know, this is plenty. It's not a netherite beacon. Maybe I'll do that later, but it's way more than enough to make a full set of gear and tools and all that jazz. So we'll just load all these bad boys up. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough furnaces in my house to cook down all my ancient debris. Rich guy problems. I think this is the last of it. Yup, there we go. So about 6.5 stacks of netherite scrap. And now it's time to just make the netherite ingots. Wow, I've never had one where I haven't been able to just shift click it all in here. Okay, there we go. So it's looking like I've got a little bit over 100 netherite ingots, which isn't that many blocks of netherite, but like I said, it's more than enough for what I need. And now it's time to just upgrade a bunch of tools and my gear. Would you look at that, guys? It only took 172 days to get all this. That's pretty much record pace. You may have noticed though, the enchants on these really aren't all that great, which is a bit of a problem. So next episode, I guess I just have to make an experience generator. I used create to completely destroy the nether in my hardcore world, and it got me a crazy amount of netherite. The only problem is I don't have enough XP to enchant my new gear. So I'm gonna build a massive factory with an absolutely insane XP farm inside to get me all the way to level 1000, and I'm gonna do it all using silverfish. But before I worry about any kind of enchanting, I do still have a few more upgrades I can make to my gear. And I know that probably sounds pretty weird considering I'm already wearing full netherite, but it's only vanilla netherite, and Create does offer a few additional upgrades on top of that to create netherite armor, which gives some pretty cool additional effects. I'm also not totally sure why there's an upgrade for every single piece of gear except for the pants, but who knows, maybe it'll come in a future update. And now if I just slap all this on, my gear is as good as it's gonna get. Obviously, you know, minus the enchanting, of course, but that's gonna come in a little bit. Now, originally I was planning on getting right into the enchanting, but while I was doing my crafting, I noticed a slight issue with my mechanical mixers, and it's why I had to manually craft my andesite alloy, which was extremely painful for me. But if I head outside, the main culprit behind this problem is sitting right back here. The water wheels have finally betrayed me. Unfortunately, in one of the recent Create updates, the regular water wheels were nerfed a little bit, so my solution here is to double down and go from a regular water wheel to an even bigger water wheel. Oh my gosh, I gotta fix this soon because this is the most painful thing ever. Oh my god, oh it hurts. So now I just need to figure out where I want to actually put these massive water wheels. I'm not even going to worry about the fact that these things spin at an extremely slow speed and I'm going to have to gear it up a ton to make the mechanical mixers work. I just need to figure out where I'm even putting them first. It seems like this corner's pretty much the only place that these can go where they won't look totally out of place, so I guess I'll see what I can do to make them look nice. Oh my gosh, when this thing drops on the ground, it's massive. What? Yeah, that's definitely not ideal. I feel like it just looked so much better before. It doesn't look right, but I'll fix it later. I'll come up with something. For now, it's fine. I need to power this stuff again. And would you look at this guy? Stop judging me, okay? It's a work in progress. It's not done yet. Well, I think that's it for the water wheel build. I tried to make it look as nice as possible, but really the most important part is the fact that I can come back in here and tear this down. It's a regular wall again. Now, right now, these water wheels are spinning at 4 RPM, and I need them to go over 30 for the mechanical mixers to work, which means I would be gearing this up at least 3 times for those to even begin working. And if I wanted it to go at a respectable speed, it would be even more than that. So I think the only logical solution is the rotation speed controller, which I didn't use before because gearing something up once or twice isn't that bad, but 3 times it just starts to become absurd. So I'm going to need to make a precision mechanism kind of in the most disgusting way possible. Well, that's an interesting turn of events. Apparently, you can get this going at its maximum speed literally just by putting the water flowing a single block at the bottom of it. It doesn't look nice, and I would never do this otherwise, but that's pretty crazy. What do you guys think of my precision mechanism factory? I am going to manually have to feed this sheet through every time, but this should work just extremely slowly. There's actually a chance that it fails, so I'm really banking on it not failing. Okay, round 1 was a success. Round 2, let's go. Round 2 was successful. Okay, on to round 3. Oh my gosh, it's so close. It is the last cycle it has to go through. It's 80% complete. I'm really hoping it makes it through because this is taking an extremely long time. I should have just geared this up. Oh, thank God, it worked. Okay, I have the precision mechanism. Now I can tear this entire thing down. So now I just have to tear down all this old rotational stuff where I was gearing up the original water wheels, replace it with this rotation speed controller, and it should be good to go. Well, I think everything should be connected now. That was super easy. It's way cleaner than it was before. I just need to check if it's spinning in the correct direction. Otherwise, I can just flip this to be the negative version of it because the encased fan is the only thing up in the kitchen that needs a specific direction. And then, of course, I need to repair, all the stuff that I tore down from my base to set that up. Oh, and this is exactly why I checked, because right now it's sucking the air up and it wouldn't wash anything on this. So I need to reverse the rotation and then I can patch everything up. And of course I need to up it all the way to 30 or above because these are still not working. Okay, it seems like everything's working again. I was able to increase the speed all the way up to 46 RPM, I believe. So Stuff in here should be a lot faster than it was before, and I just have to do this because after manually crafting it so many times, I have to automatically make some. I can't. Oh, it's so much better. It's so much better. It's so much more resource efficient, guys. You can't even believe it. Okay, and now that this is done, it's time to finally get into what I was meaning to do today, which really means it's time to do a lot of gathering of materials and a lot of crafting, because I'm going to need a ton of stuff today to make the actual factory building, which is going to look super cool, and then to make all the cool contraptions inside the building that make it actually do stuff. Where do you even normally find granite? Oh my gosh, and the boots make me sink. They make me sink towards the bad guys. Okay, I can breathe underwater, but I do not need to sink towards them. I feel like that should be enough granite. I'm really hoping, at least, because my pick is about to break and I've really torn this place up. There's still more granite to go, but I feel like that should be enough to at least build the beginning of the factory. Wasn't even paying attention. Okay. It wasn't enchanted yet. It's fine. I've got plenty of netherite. It's fine. I'm definitely not coping. Well, I think that should be it for the crafting. Nah, I'm totally kidding, guys. So the stuff that I've got in this chest right here and this chest right here, and then this new toolbox that I made right here is generally the things that I should need to make both the factory build itself and then all the different contraptions in it. The only thing is these probably look like really random numbers because I don't know exactly what I need because it's such a big build. I planned out little bits and pieces of it, but I haven't actually put it all together yet. On top of that, I've run into a little bit of an issue over here. So my iron supply is running a little bit low. I was always low on iron compared to everything else. Like I have an absurd amount of diamonds and zinc. I could use a little bit more copper, but the iron was always really low, but now it's like dangerously low. This is getting to the point where it's like, this is what a regular vanilla Minecraft player has within the first couple days or something. So this is going to have to be addressed. It's just another big project I have to deal with. So I got to finish this one first. But yeah, this crafting severely cut into my iron supply. But now that all that stuff's taken care of, it's time to deal with the next problem, because there's always a next problem when you go to do a huge build. When I first made this house, I had to clear cut a pretty big area that was covered in trees, since this entire little island area is covered in trees. So I'm probably gonna have to do that again, because I do want to make the factory somewhere over here, but as you can see, it's still pretty dense foliage over here, and I'm gonna have to level the ground a little bit. Oh yeah, and I'm eating bread now because I killed off all the animals that live around here instead of breeding them, so now I'm living on bread. I'm on a low meat diet. Call me any company in corporate America, because I just cut down an entire forest to make a factory. It's cool though. It's cool though. I didn't destroy any animals' homes or anything because I had already killed all the animals in the entire area to eat, so it's fine. Seriously though, I think this area should be big enough at least to start on building the factory. It's a good start, so I think I just have to start building and see where everything lands, because like I said, I just need to start piecing it together like a puzzle, and then I'll figure it out. Surely there's no way anything goes wrong with that. Well, I've been working on this for about an hour now, and this is what I've got. So I'm gonna have to rethink my plan for setting this all up. So you can see all the different sections of the walls here. They're all pretty much gonna be the same, except I believe over here, I'm actually gonna design this one to be a lot shorter than that and to allow a train to go through here. So I'm gonna want it to be kind of a pull-through station where I'll put some tracks down, train will pull in here, and then it can be one of those cool ones that will eventually load up with experience, and it'll be in the tanks and it'll look super cool. Everything else is pretty much going to be just like this wall here. And because it took so long for me to make it, it's so high up that I have to go, and I'm coming up and down and all of that. I'm going to expedite it using create. So I try to avoid just using a schematic cannon where I'll copy something that I plan out in creative and then build it using the schematic cannon in the world. But what I'm going to do here is take the section of the wall that I've already built and I'm going to copy it using the schematic in Quill, and then I'm going to paste it in using all the blocks that I collected. So I think if I get this section down here and then I got to go all the way around. I didn't realize you could select from so far away with this thing. That is awesome. So I'll just select that up there and then I gotta scroll it to get everything in scope that I want. Yeah, looks like that's got everything. So now I need to save it. And I actually want to make use of this right now. So I'm going to save and upload immediately. And now this has been converted to an actual schematic of it. So if I were to try to place it down, let's say right here, that is what it would paste in as. So then I could move it forward like that and use the schematic cannon to place it. But I probably am going to do the one over here. So I'll just scroll it all the way over, because like I said, that one down there is going to be a little bit different for a train pull through. So that is what it should be like. And now I just got to use the schematic cannon to shoot this whole thing up there. Okay, I think it's ready. I loaded it up with gunpowder. I have a ton of gunpowder from when I did all the different ore processing, because this is a secondary output of one of the ores. So I've got stacks and stacks of this, which you need to run this. And that's really all you need. So I adjusted some of the printer settings so it doesn't replace any solid blocks, because there is going to be a little bit of overlap. And then I think I just throw everything in a chest next to it. I've actually never really used this before, but I'm hoping that if I do this, it's going to go. Oh, it's done. Wow, that took maybe like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it replicates it perfectly. So it's not super fast, and I don't think there's any way to speed up the schematic cannon itself, but then I just get to turn the schematic into the same thing again. It barely used any gunpowder, and then I just set the next wall to go. So this is going to make building this thing way easier. The only problem is I don't want it to be perfectly identical for every section, so I am going to have to go in, especially with the window shapes and where there are windows, and I'm gonna have to manually change those. But on the bright side, I can just do that while it's building like this section over here, or one of the 10 other sections that I have to shoot out of a cannon because I'm too lazy to build. Well, I think the factory is finally done, or at least the outside of it is. It definitely ended up being way bigger than I had initially planned, but that's good because I'm actually going to need pretty much all the space inside it to make the experience factory. And the inside's pretty much done as well. The only thing is, it's really just all in my inventory, so it's still kind of got some assembly required. But before I start putting all that stuff together, I did run into one little issue while I was crafting. Yeah, so I am basically out of iron, which is obviously a huge issue considering how much iron you use when you do pretty much anything with the create mod. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to fix it right now because I've got an experience factory to make, but pretty much the next thing that needs to be on my to-do list is a massive iron generator. But for now, I'm not going to worry about that, or I'm going to try not to worry about it because I need to make a cobblestone generator in this corner right over here. So I'm going to need a bunch of item vaults that I can store all the cobblestone I'm going to generate inside. And I think this should be literally the biggest singular item vault you can even make. And then I need a whole bunch of andesite funnels to pick all the cobblestone up. And then, as weird as it may seem, I need a whole bunch of spruce doors over all of these andesite funnels because this is actually what's going to break the cobblestone. I'm not going to have any drills or anything like that. I'm going to break it using spruce trapdoors. This entire setup is built on the idea of like clever use of game mechanics, let's call it. It's just a broken way to generate cobblestone really quickly, but I don't really want to call it that and get it nerfed someday. So it's clever use of game mechanics. Then on top of these trapdoors, I'm going to need a whole bunch of mechanical pumps that are going to be making our cobblestone. And the final layer is just a whole bunch of fluid tanks where I'm going to store the lava for the mechanical pumps. So really, it's just a whole bunch of layers of the same thing. It's like you're making a 7-layer dip or something. Wait, is this thing actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Okay, so yeah, it is a 7-layer dip cobblestone generator. I'm patenting that name, copywriting it. Now I just need to make the mechanism that's going to move this thing back and forth. And that's pretty much the entire setup. The only thing is, it's a little bit weird, so it's kind of hard to explain how it works when it isn't running, and there are a few things that I need to do before it runs, like getting it rotational power, putting some lava in the tanks, and putting a whole bunch of water up there, which I now realize is going to spill out everywhere, so kind of probably also got to close that off a bit too. Why does this not want to go in the tech? You can put this in there, right? Or is that only in creative that you can just click this in there? Oh, don't tell me that's just when you're planning stuff out in creative. It's so stupid. This is how I have to load my lava in here. I don't know why I can't just click it in with the bucket, or if I'm doing something wrong, but this is really annoying. I think everything's done now, so the only thing I have to do is flip the direction of rotation, which should make this go to the side, and I think water's gonna spill out everywhere for a quick second, but then everything should start working, or at least I really, really hope it does. Oh, there we go. Slow and steady at the start. Okay, well, something clearly wasn't glued right over here. Oh, it's just none of this is glued. Why is none of this glued? Here we go. And then back. Yes, it's working, and the water didn't even spill out. So now this is already generating a lot of cobblestone, but I should be able to crank this thing up because it shouldn't really use that much more rotational power. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. It could go even faster than this, but I can't imagine I'm going to be able to process even this much cobblestone. So a quick rundown of how this works, and it's definitely really noisy, but basically the pumps are going so slow that they're pumping out basically like 1 millibucket of lava every tick. That millibucket doesn't consume the lava from in the fluid tanks at the top, but it's enough to generate cobblestone, which is already a kind of buggy game mechanic. Then every time we move a contraption, which is this middle part, and it gets placed down, it overrides any block that's already there, or the cobblestone, and it breaks it. And so that's what's destroying it. Then it's getting picked up by all the different andesite funnels, put into that barrel on the contraption, and then dumped out from this funnel right here and inside the item vault. This is a super common design though, so I really don't want to get too in depth since most of you probably already know about this, but now it's time for us to start using this cobblestone to make some smooth stone right over here. I gotta turn this off for now though, because that is so unbelievably loud. So this monstrosity right here is the tileable part of my wickedly overkill but super cool looking bulk smelter. Obviously it's missing some critical parts like the fans and the lava that'll do the actual bulk smelting, but the rest of it, which is the part that looks really cool, is what's going on here. Now I'll get into a little bit more detail later when we can actually watch it run, but the general idea is there's a whole lot of redstone controlling when cobblestone is going to come down this chute right here, land on the depot, then it's going to get bulk smelted by some fans blowing lava across it. Then once it's bulk smelted, there's a fan up there that's going to kick on for just long enough to suck the stone all the way up this side and then kick it off onto a belt. And then the minute that stone gets up there, some redstone timing over there is going to allow that funnel then to drop more cobblestone back down. And there's going to be a whole bunch of these in a row. So there's just going to be cobblestone coming down and stone going up, and it's going to look really cool. And I could have done this way faster and way cheaper and way easier, but obviously that's not the whole purpose of this factory. It's to look really cool while also netting me a ton of XP. So I think for the bulk smelter, I'm going to duplicate this another 6 times for a total of 7, and that should be sufficient. Well, I think that's pretty much everything that needs to be done in terms of building, so most of the technical stuff is done. The only problem is the very technical part, which is setting up all the different frequencies for all the different redstone links. I still have to do, and I don't have a really good way of doing that since there's 7 of them, and then there's 4 on each of these with 2 different frequencies. So my plan is to use either stone or cobblestone and then some granite, and I am just going to pick 7 random types of chiseled granite, and then those are going to be the second frequencies for all of these. So it's probably a really stupid plan, but it's the best I got at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. Yep, that should be 7 types of different pieces of granite, and then I've got the stone and the cobblestone, so now it's time to set some frequencies. Now I think the last bit is just getting this rotational power to all these different parts and getting the correct speed, since they do end up being pretty particular for what I need, and then lava in each of these, and finally getting the cobblestone out of here and onto something back there for a mechanical arm to use. So yeah, I guess there's still technically a fair bit left to do. Okay, well, after a lot of rotational power setup, and I mean a lot, if I connect this, everything in here should start going properly, assuming I didn't screw something up. Now, that's a big if, but the real test will be if regular stone starts shooting off of this belt just into the air over here. If that happens, then I did everything right. And there's the water that I expected to be spilling out. Okay, this is promising. Cobblestone is coming down here. There it goes. Okay, it finishes and immediately gets sucked up. It's so good. It's so much better than I could have even hoped for. And then over here, it's just spitting out a ton of stone, which really is just going to end up getting loaded onto this exact same thing, except instead of lava down here, it's going to be one shorter on each side, since it's not going to need the iron bars here, and it's going to be a soul campfire to bulk haunt it. But literally everything else is going to be 100% identical, and I don't need to deal with this whole mess, and the rotational power will be a lot easier. But that's going to go over here. So I'm probably just going to do that whole thing in one go, and then we'll be back when it's time to do the block breaking. Oh my god, I still can't get over how cool this looks. I'm so glad it actually worked. Oh my gosh, okay, I think this one is now also done. I am so sick of setting this exact thing up over and over and over again, and then connecting the rotational power is even worse. But assuming I did everything correctly, if I just put this back down, then all of this should start working, and I'm very nervous because I keep starting it and stopping it to test out different directions and stuff, so I feel like I'm gonna break something, but here we go. Okay, it looks good. Now, I'm not gonna be able to tell when these eventually change other than when they get sucked up, because stone and infested stone doesn't look different. Now, I don't know why that happened. So this should all be infested stone that's being chucked off over here. And assuming that that was just a little blip in the system, this one should have no issues. And this one over here should also be running correctly. It looks like it is. Very nice. See, now it looks like one of these is having an issue where it's dropping extra. Okay, it's this one is dropping extra. So I need to figure out why that is. Oh, well, that's the issue right there. I guess the mechanical arms default to regular round robin, but you can change them to forced round robin, which should fix that issue. Now it'll have to go from one to the next, and it won't be able to double up on any of these, so these should both be working perfectly fine now. I will admit they kind of look a little bit ugly, though the build itself doesn't look ugly, it looks really cool, but the area around them kind of looks a little bit rough right now. Also, if I'm being honest, it really bothers me that there's no iron bars over here, but there are iron bars on this one over here. I know this one doesn't need it because it's soul campfires, but it like really bothers me. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. That was almost certainly not a good use of my time, but now they look a lot nicer, so I just need to test that everything works properly, and I should be able to check every single one just by putting 7 stacks of cobblestone in there. So nothing over here really changed other than the round robin setting on the mechanical arm, but once this works, then the real test will be over here. Okay, it looks like everything worked fine over here, and now it should all be getting dropped over here. And the only one I'm really concerned about is this last one right here, since that's the new one. Seems like that one's working. And now every single thing that gets spit out over here, since I don't have what's coming next in the setup, but everything spit out over here should be infested stone. I'm just gonna wait until that last one finishes and gets chucked off. Okay, assuming this is all infested stone. 3 stacks, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. So now everything is working properly, and I just spent like 30 minutes to move this over exactly 1 to make literally no functional difference. And speaking of making no functional difference, I think now that everything's in the correct place, it's time to make this whole area look a little bit nicer. I feel like this is a good start, but it's really gray. I don't want to use granite though, because there's definitely plenty of granite for the first layer. I don't think it really fits in with the actual build itself, but it looks a lot nicer, so I'm just gonna roll with it. I'll try and tie it in. Maybe I'll do some stuff back here and try to tie it in like that, and then, you know, more blocks of experience because they just look really cool. That doesn't look too bad. It's definitely coming along. There's still a lot of missing blocks up at the top there, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on kind of this portion of the room. The only problem I'm running into, and it seems to be a recurring problem, is I am fresh out of andesite. I think all I have left are andesite slabs. I have no idea why I made so many of these because I'm not going to be using them for anything other than this part right here. So it's a little bit of a waste, but I'm definitely going to need a lot more andesite for finishing up there, and then all the stuff that goes over here. And then this whole area that I need to rework to make it look nicer. Now I need an andesite farm, but then I also need an iron farm, and I don't know which one's more important because they're both really important. And there's just not enough time in the day, guys. There's so many things that need to be automated, and yet I'm choosing to automate this to get experience way more than I need. And it's probably the least useful thing out of all of it. But like, it looks really cool, so it's totally worth it, right? Yeah, totally worth it. Well, I'm just about all out of resources, so I think these are all the changes I can make for the time being. But you know, I think it's looking pretty nice. It's definitely looking a lot better than it was before, I'll say that. I also added in a little area up there that's got some andesite bars that are supposed to kind of be like a railing that I eventually want to use for a bunch of tanks of experience and hyper experience, but I'm not there yet since I don't have the whole killing area set up over here just yet, but eventually I want to use it for that. I've pretty much killed all of the animals in the surrounding area, so there were not any cows nearby anywhere. Now I had to go way far over there, which was really annoying because it took like 2 in-game days to travel all the way over and then come back. The only good thing though is I got one specific block that I really needed, and that is this crimsite right here, and I got a whole lot of it. Don't get me wrong, I have absolutely no plans of using crimsite to just build stuff with because I don't really like how it looks, I don't really like the color, but if I look at the uses for it, if I dump it in some crushing wheels, it's got a 40% chance of giving crushed raw iron, and then another 40% chance of giving an iron nugget, which is kind of dwarfed by the crushed raw iron, but it's still something. So these stacks and stacks right here, I need to process before I move on to the next step because I'm going to need a whole bunch of item vaults for the next and final part of the build, and this right here should be able to give me at least a couple stacks of iron ingots. I don't know if this is going to work, but I think I can just dump it in here and it should be able to work. I don't really know. Although this entire system slowed way down because of the water wheel nerf, and the water wheels that are out there running this thing, which are now going even slower than they initially were, I haven't updated those yet or sped them up. So this is going to be painfully slow. I feel like a creep who's like staring through someone's window. I'm like, is it working? Is it working? I can't see. It sounds like it's working. It's working. So I can just dump all of it in there and then just sit back as this thing takes like 2 hours to process. It has to be about like 10 stacks of crimsite, something like that. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit. Okay, I think those are the last item vaults I need. The system upstairs is still running and it's got a long ways to go. Like the entire hopper's still full, and then yeah, there's still a lot in here, but I was able to make about 54 item vaults, which should be the exact amount that, at least I'm not going to say that I want. I eventually want more, and it'll be able to go faster if I have more, but for now it should be suitable, and then I don't have to wait for that thing to run because it's just so slow. Now it's time to make the very last part of this system that's at least going to generate us the regular experience. Then I'm gonna have to convert it to hyper experience, and I'll probably do that up there. But to make regular experience, I need to have something that places down a bunch of infested stone using deployers, and then it's going to break it and then make a bunch of silverfish and then kill those. The first thing I have to decide is where I want the silverfish to fall and be killed, and I'm thinking, yeah, you know what, right here is probably the best. I might regret that later because I need a lot of room in the back if I want to expand it more, but for now I'm going to roll with right here. And then I need to go up 10 blocks because I'm looking to drop the silverfish down 10 blocks, which should bring them to 1 health so that they can be punched to death. So this will be the chute right here that they fall down, and I'm gonna have to encase this entire thing in glass eventually. I'm just gonna wait to do that until later in case I change my mind on where I want them to fall. But then all the way around this, I'm gonna need belts that are pushing the silverfish into this area right here. If I run all of these belts at max speed, the silverfish can't really fight against them, but they could fight against encased fans. So that's why belts are better. And now with the recent updates, you can run belts at whatever RPM you want and they don't consume any stress capacity. So it makes it really nice to just crank stuff up with a rotation speed controller, pump it right into one of the belts, and then they're running at max speed, and stuff really just shoots across a belt, including silverfish when they're running at 256. I think I want the silverfish to be broken out on this level right here. So if I just put down some blocks right up here, I'm actually going to use trapdoors and do pretty much the same block breaking setup I have over there, but over here again, I just need to be careful with which direction I move it in, because I can't move it one block further back in this direction because it's pressed up against the wall right there. And if I need the block placed right here, then it's not going to have the deployer right here. The deployer should be up here then, I believe, facing down, since it places it 2 blocks in front of it. So that should be all the deployers that I'm going to need. And then above that, I need chutes that are going to input into each deployer. And this is what's just going to drop all of the infested stone into them. And then above that, I need something that's going to hold the infested stone. And in this case, it's just going to be one massive item vault so that I can input it all into one space. And then it's just going to get dropped through all of these to fill up the deployers. And this is why I said 54 should be sufficient, because if I did my math right, it just basically needs to be some multiple of 9. So if we go like that and that, now I still have 9 left over. So in theory, I could add one additional layer over here, but then I would have to move the whole thing out one more, and then it would look really weird down there. So I'm not going to do that. This should be enough. So the general idea of this is going to be just like the cobblestone generator down there, like I said, where the infested stone is going to go into this item vault up here. It's going to get distributed to all these different deployers down here, which are going to place it down right where these are right here. And then we're going to be moving the trapdoors left and right and left and right, and it's going to break all the infested stone really quickly and spawn silverfish, which are going to land on the belts down here, get carried to this central point right here, and fall all the way down so that they're 1 health. Now that means that I have to get a lot of rotational power hooked up right here. Thankfully, the direction doesn't really matter for any of these, but I got to get rotational power to these, and I got to get all the infested stone coming up into this item vault here from somewhere down there. Oh yeah, and I need to make the moving contraption here to move this left and right, which is just going to be a basic version of what's down there. So I'm going to quickly do that then. Oh my god, I have no idea where I left my toolbox. I'm trying to hit the key right now to access nearby toolboxes, which is only within like 10 blocks, and it's not opening, and it's not in my inventory. And there was a creeper explosion over here at one point, and I'm really nervous that it destroyed it. Oh my god, wait, it's somewhere around here. I don't know where it is, but it's oh my gosh, it's right there. The day is saved. I was about to have a mental breakdown. No, this is so frustrating. It's 1 block off working perfectly. The simple answer would just be to use another encased fan here to pull things up and extend this belt over, but I was really hoping to not do that. But it's kind of looking like that's the only actual option I have, unless things want to get really messy in here. Well, that's certainly interesting and annoying. Well, that's certainly interesting. I can't even pick it up. There's a block right here. They should be pick upable at some point. That polished andesite's just done for. It's dead to me. Well, I think everything's at least working, so it's probably time to give this thing a try. I don't see any way this doesn't go horribly wrong, because I'm about to just release a bunch of silverfish in here, but I mean, maybe it works, right? So assuming I even hooked everything up correctly to get the blocks up there, if I change this and I just invert the signal and this starts, it should get infested stone up there, and that's a big if I connected everything correctly. Okay, the first part is still working. I'd be concerned if something over here broke because I haven't messed with anything over here, but it's still a good sign. The cobblestone is generating. It's making it to the bulk smelter. Now, this is the moment of truth because the blocks are going up, which means in theory, the next thing that I should eventually see are some silverfish down here, assuming I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so they're not falling down, which is concerning concerning. I don't know why they're not able to fall down. Oh, I need to turn this off. Oh no. Oh no, wait, there's gonna be so many blocks up there. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, well, it kind of worked, so that's good, but oh no, this is so bad. It's so bad. I think I might need to push them into a corner. It's what was happening with that block up there. Oh, the sound. I have to get up there and stop this. Oh, please stop. Please stop. Oh, what have I done? I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't really even know what to do here. I probably should have tried it out with like 5 or 6 blocks first. But there's gotta be stacks and stacks of it. So it works. These just need to be pushed into a corner, probably. Oh, wait, I could pour lava in here, right? That would work, because I can't hit them from here. But if I pour lava in there, that'll kill them all. Oh, wait, it'll pour straight down. I gotta pour lava, like, somewhere it'll go everywhere. Yeah, that's what I gotta do. Oh, I went far enough away and they all despawned? Okay, unless they're just hiding everywhere in the base right now and I can't see them. Nah, I know that they can't infest most blocks, so I guess they just despawned. But I just want it to be known that the lava would have worked probably, and I feel like that is a win. Like, I feel like I deserve credit for coming up with that on the spot because I was kind of freaking out there. So maybe this will work. I need to try and only let this run a little bit so that whole situation doesn't happen again. But I'm thinking maybe if it's pushing into a corner, then this will work instead of multiple belts pushing into other belts. So I got to give this a go. So I'll just connect this for like 2 seconds, maybe twice. Okay, it looks like that worked better. There's just a bunch of other broken stuff like infested stone on the back there and stuff that got connected up here. And I'll have to make the channel down there work. But it looks like the blocks make their way up here, they get placed, they get broken, assuming I fix that little issue in the back there, and then they do make their way down there. I just gotta clean it up a lot, and I need to make it look nice because you got, you know, this over here and it's like, wow, it's so pretty, and then now that looks way better. I tried to kind of tie it in with the exact same design that I had over there, and it took a little bit to get everything sorted out, and I'll admit it bothers me that because they need to fall down a chute here, but it has to be at the corner, it's a little bit misaligned between the item vaults up there and that whole setup and then this area, but I'm just gonna move past it. The only thing that's bothering me really badly is over here. I don't have anything designed and there's not a ton of room to do a lot of stuff if I plan on having a train come in here, so I'm not totally sure, but this is kind of out of the way. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and then once I come and try and set up the train or figure out if I'm gonna do something different over here, then I'll worry about that. All I have for now is a door that lets me get into the back here, and then I put in an extra ladder right over here so I can go up to the top. But the best part about this whole thing is the system actually works now, and I feel like that's something I say and then I connect it and it totally doesn't work, so I'm really hoping that doesn't happen here, but it should work now when I connect it. Yep, so it's going nice up here. I did increase the speed and I think I can increase it even further, but for now that should be good. And that noise is so annoying, but you can see down here they are falling and they're taking damage, and then they're being punched to death by the mechanical arms there. Now I'm gonna have to fine tune the rate, and I might need another mechanical arm. I might need to speed up the mechanical arms, but this right here allows for them to automatically be killed and give me experience. I really got to turn this off though. I can't even hear myself think. That is so loud. Or can I turn silverfish off in here? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's the best mod ever. It's hilarious that I can just hear the the fall damage sound. So they're not getting killed right now by the mechanical arms though, most likely, because the mechanical arms can only hold so much, and you can see they're holding the nuggets of experience right now, so I need to take those out. Yeah, so you can see right here, this one's already holding 64 nuggets of experience. I think these other ones, yep, that one's holding them too, so they're not going to be able to kill them until I take out the nuggets of experience, and I need to drain them using a disenchanter to turn them into liquid experience and then put that into some fluid tanks. Can I turn off fall damage sound too? No, you can't turn off the fall damage sound. Okay, I need to stop these then. I can't listen to that while I'm trying to work, and I almost certainly need to speed them up. But I think I'm gonna have the experience tanks over here just because it's kind of open. There's not a ton going on. I was gonna do it up there, but I think it's fine over here, and I'm probably just gonna do one big one, maybe like right here as a 3x3 for the regular experience, and then one somewhere over here for the hyper experience. I know people say size doesn't matter, but in this case, I kind of feel like it does because this is a little bit underwhelming for the two tanks. So eventually I'm going gonna have to make more, but it's gonna need a lot to get it up to a size that I think will be suitable for holding all this experience. So for now, it's okay to get everything piped together. Yeah, I'm just gonna disconnect this so I don't have to listen to that anymore. Now, the real question is if things coming from the chute are able to go right onto the disenchanter. So if I put this down there, can they go right on it? It doesn't seem like they can. I think I need a hopper to go to each disenchanter, since it kind of has to like push the items across it. So if the disenchanter goes here and then the hopper goes here, and then I put a nugget on that, that should work. What, seriously? That doesn't work either? What? It's like, it's on the thing. Surely if I do some sort of belt system down here, that'll work. I've done that before. That has to work. I'm amazed the hoppers failed me. I figured that would work because it works with item drains using a hopper, but at least this should work. This will probably look cooler anyway, so it's fine. Well, that's one chute connected. It's a little cramped down here, though. Thankfully, this one can just drop straight down, and I'm one chute short. That's great. Thankfully, my iron should be processed. Yup, there it is. So that's a little bit over 4 stacks. That's awesome. That is plenty for making more chutes. This has got to be the least elegant way to get these belts spinning in the correct direction. You know, this would be a situation where if I had some encased chain drives... Oh, wait, does this work? Does this work right here? No. Okay, well, back to the other horrible way, which rotates it like a billion times to get it to work. I tried, guys. People always say that the Chads really use the encased chain drive. I've seen the meme, but it didn't work here. So now if these all get hooked up, it should be good to drain them. It just won't be going anywhere yet. So now this should work. If I turn the whole system back on, which I have to do to get the experience back in there, because I need an authentic representation of it. I can't just put it in manually. I need the deployers to pick the stuff up and then drop them. I think, though, that it should be working. Man, I really need some like wireless on-off switch for up here. I just need to put down like a clutch of some sort somewhere here that turns this whole thing on and off. Can I see from up here if it's working? They're not draining, though. What? They're just being spit out all over the ground. They're so... And why is it only the middle one? The other ones are fist bumping. Okay, there's some going to the other ones, but the other ones are like fist bumping or something. And I feel like I need to point this out because I'm not just saying that as like a stupid joke, but there's an advancement called Pound It, bro. Haha, where it's make 2 deployers fist bump. It's a hidden advancement. You get it when they fist bump at the same time. And I have a feeling that it might be making it so they're fist bumping and they're not punching what's in front of them. I might just have to get rid of one of these if I can't fix this. That is such an annoying noise. Regardless, these are going to be full. They're going to stop. Yeah, they're already full. So while I let this whole thing percolate for a bit and try to think of what to do about that, I need to get the experience over to this tank right here, or this one, whichever one I want to be the regular experience tank, which maybe it should be this one. I think in this case, 1 pump should be enough because it only is moving. That should be less than 16 blocks that has to move. And there we go. I'm definitely going to have to experiment with the deployers to see if there's a way to get around fist bumping or a better way to kill all these guys, since deployers give us experience nuggets 100% of the time, but things like crushing wheels don't give it 100% of the time. So I might eventually have to go with crushing wheels here, and it may still get more experience. I'm not totally sure, but either way, it's working. You can see the XP is just flowing in here, and I'll have to make sure that these are being drained fast enough. But for the most part, this whole setup is working. I mean, if I can just go AFK and let this whole thing run, I need a better way to kill them because there's way too many in there, but I could just sit here and do nothing and then eventually come back, and all this liquid experience can just be showered onto me out of a pipe or something and get me regular levels. There's a lot of efficiency tweaks that can be made, and the same probably goes for a lot of stuff in this setup. This is way better than I thought it would be at this point, so... Yep, that's looking good. And that is a whole lot of experience. So I've obviously made a whole ton of improvements to this entire area, both with increasing the killing area and increasing the speed of the block placing at the top, and just, you know, making it look a whole lot nicer. And this is what I'm left with. I'm pretty sure this is as efficient as I can get it at the moment until they update the enchantment industry mod so that sweeping edge swords work. And then when that happens, this thing's gonna go even faster. But for now, this is the current rate of experience that that I'm getting, which probably doesn't seem like much, but in a little bit you'll see as I start using it to get myself levels that this is a pretty crazy rate. And now that I got a ton of experience coming in, there's only 2 things left for me to do. First off, I need to hyper enchant my gear, and then I need to get to a really stupid level for pretty much no reason. For hyper enchanting my gear, I'm obviously going to need hyper experience, and I'm going to need to mix that in a basin using experience, lapis, and glow ink. So I'm thinking I'll just put the basin and mixer right here and just pull from this into here and then out into here. I think I should be able to use a smart pipe to pull out of here, so I don't need to worry about pulling out regular experience when there's no hyper experience, and then just put a mechanical pump after that and then push it right into here. That way, eventually I should be able to set the filter here to hyper experience, since I believe there's a bottle of hyper experience that I can somehow make. Yeah, so if I make this and then just toss it into this filter, it's supposed to accept any container that has a fluid in it and filter that fluid. So I'm hoping that works. Yeah, this is definitely the best way to get rotational power over. It's a good thing I'm covering this up because this is just absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna try and forget that I did this down here, but that is so bad. It's just so bad. You know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. Now I just have to connect all this stuff over here, which should be pretty easy. I need to figure out the best way to get a bottle of hyper experience, but I'm assuming I can't just like glass bottle. Oh, maybe I can because it works with regular experience. So maybe I can just glass bottle it out of here. Either way, I still need hyper experience first, so I gotta bulk haunt me some ink. There we go. Now just toss it all in there together and it should be good to go. Oh my gosh, does this need to be heated to make it? Oh, it needs to be super heated. Okay, yep, that's fun. I've done this stuff before, so I feel like that's something I should probably have remembered. I mean, this is just peak efficiency right here. I don't see any other way that I could possibly be getting cinder flour other than just sitting at this setup doing this. And now I just have to press these together, but I'm pretty sure it has to be done in a basin instead of on a depot, so that should be good. And now I should just be able to fill these up using a spout with some lava onto a depot, but I'm assuming, because why would I be able to, because I'm unlucky, that I'm not going to be able to manually input this lava in here. So let's just see. Yup, that's to be expected. I think that should work, but I'm pretty sure every bucket only gets me 3 of these. Yeah, I'm going to need more lava. Good thing I have large lava pool over here reserved for this exact situation. You know, the problem with doing big things like this is that I keep thinking to myself literally every step of the way, oh, I should make a farm for that. Oh, I should make a farm for that. But there's not enough time. So that's the second bucket. That should fill up all 9 of these then. And I can't imagine I'm going to need more than 9. Now I can tear this absolute monstrosity down. I just need to make sure that I'm ready to make a bunch of hyper experience all at once to maximize the blaze cake usage. If I superheat this and then I can't pull the hyper experience out of here using a bottle, I'm gonna be really annoyed. But I do want to disconnect this until then, because it's gonna be really awkward if there's liquid experience in here and hyper experience and it keeps trying to bottle out the regular experience. It's gonna start spitting experience everywhere, but if I just put this here, I think it stops. Yeah, okay, so this should be good now. How much do I need to make a bottle? I need 1,000 millibuckets to make a bottle? What? Well, that's just absurd. Guess I gotta reconnect this. This thing needs more experience. While that's making hyper experience, the other thing that I have to do to get hyper enchanting ready is over here, I have collected a whole bunch of enchanted books. Some of these have come from villager trading, like mending, but then other ones I've just randomly enchanted over at my enchanting table. And the main reason is because I can now duplicate enchanted books. So if I have enough experience using the printer, I can just replicate these using regular books and then combine them. So I didn't need to go all the way for max level of everything to start, but I need to combine all of these with duplicates of them to get them all the way to max level. And then I can use those to hyper enchant using the hyper experience and get gear that's got 1 level over the max level of these enchants. So I got to duplicate these and then combine them in the anvil until I have max level of looting, fortune, unbreaking, all this good stuff. Well, that should be the last book. So now all of these should be the max level that you can get in vanilla Minecraft. And for everything that's not a non-level based enchant, so everything other than mending, it can all go up one more level. So it's really overpowered when you hyper enchant it. Time to see if I can bucket out, or bottle out, I guess I should say, this liquid hyper experience. I'm pretty sure it's going to give me liquid experience to start. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make so many bottles to go through the experience. How am I supposed to, maybe I just pump the regular experience out, filtering with this first out over here. Yeah, that's probably the play. And then I can pull out the liquid hyper experience, hopefully with a bottle. Okay, regular experience comes out here, and only regular experience, please. So while I'm here, you guys can see just how much each millibucket of experience is, because I'm getting a lot of XP right now, and this was only 1,000 millibuckets. All right, it was actually a little bit less than 1,000 millibuckets. So imagine what the 201,000 that's over there is going to be. Wow, really? It's going to get stuck at 2? Okay, hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. So now I should be able to, please let me, yes, it does that. And wait, it only took 10. That's crazy. If I would have wasted 1,000 millibuckets for this recipe, there's no way this recipe takes that much. This has to be incorrect, because it says the same thing for this as well. And the bottle of enchanting only takes 10 millibuckets as well. So unless it's just really bad coding specific to the spout that makes it extremely inefficient, then that's great. So now I should be able to come in here and filter this. I just need to make sure this is reconnected first, because otherwise it's going to start pulling the hyper experience out, and I do not want to waste any hyper experience. So there we go. And now if I just put this here, it should start filling this with hyper experience. Oh yes, awesome. And then I think this gives me buffs. I'm just going to chuck this. It's not worth it. I think, does that give me? I thought it was supposed to give you buffs or something. What? Maybe I was supposed to drink it. I don't know. Now I just got to reconnect this over here and make a whole bunch more hyper experience. We'll just top that off, and then I'm gonna have to go get some more glow ink, because I am definitely gonna run out before I hyper enchant even half my gear. Oh my god, there's actually glow squid down here. That's crazy. I should probably hyper enchant my sword with looting 4 and then come back and do this, because otherwise it's just gonna take so long. Just set the enchantment guide to looting 3, put it on the blaze burner. Now it says it's gonna need 220 millibuckets, but that would be the amount of regular experience for looting 3. The minute I connect it to hyper experience though, it's going to shoot up a little bit, because then technically it's one level higher. No, it actually, I'm going to want to pull it directly from this and not from over here. So if I just get rid of that, connect another pump, and then make this a cogwheel down here, that should work. There we go. Now it's looting 4, and it's going to need 328 millibuckets, but it's completely full. So if I just click this on here, it should start hyper enchanting this, and I should be able to get a lot of glow ink a whole lot faster. There we go. A lot of advancements all at once, and this now has looting 4, and that's literally all it has. So this should be good now to go get a lot of ink sacks. And well, I think that's all the hyper experience mixing I can do for now. I used up all my blaze cakes, and unfortunately I did end up having a little bit left over that I wasn't able to mix. So that's about, 610 hyper experience. So if I'm short 610 or less when I go to enchant this, but I still don't finish, then, that's just on me. Otherwise, I still need to go gather more, but I've got 2,000 millibuckets in here. I've got 3.4 thousand millibuckets in here. And then I've got my mending enchant set up over here. This uses regular experience, only 102 millibuckets. So that's going to be easy to get on everything. And then I just need to swap in over here all these different books, and some of them, like Unbreaking, are going to go on pretty much everything. Other things like Fortune, that's only going to go on my pickaxe. So I'm going to have to go through all these, but probably going to start with the biggest ones and see how far I get on enchanting literally every single piece of gear that I have. How do you hyper enchant the back tank? How does that work? Can I just throw it on here? How does this work? It's trying to place it down. How do you do this? Please tell me I can enchant that. There's no way that you can't hyper enchant that. That should be good for every enchant, except my chest piece, because it just doesn't want to enchant, because it doesn't want to let me hyper enchant it. That has to be a bug. I'm going to figure it out, but that is so unbelievably tilting. And now the only thing left to do is to make a repair station over here using the depot and case I want to specifically repair mending tools, I can just throw it down if I attach a spout up here, just like that, and then flip the rotation here so it's putting experience in. This should be able to just easily repair my tools that have mending, and it's just a nice to have. It's not really necessary, but it's cool if I specifically want to fix one thing. And then I also want to make an experience shower. There we go. I think that works better. It looks a little bit weird, but the main purpose of this is so that I can turn this valve right here, and I never realized that this shows whether it's open or closed, but I can now turn this and just shower myself in experience. And I want to do this because you always see those videos that have the titles like, I got to level 1,000 in hardcore Minecraft. So that's what I'm doing here. There's absolutely no point behind it, but this is an extremely overpowered experience generator. I have so much experience in here. So all I'm going to do with this is make a better XP generator than all those other videos, because I can just go AFK and do whatever I want and get thousands of levels of experience. So I'm going to see how long I can mentally tolerate sitting under this thing, getting XP while this system runs, and see just how high I can get, because the diminishing returns get pretty crazy the higher level you get. So I'm curious. But if I turn this once, look, this is very slowly draining, but I'm getting a ton of experience. And the best part of this whole thing is if I just turn this back on and let it run, well, then this right here doesn't even go down in experience. I almost net experience. It basically stabilizes, at least, if not nets experience into the tank as I'm gaining levels. Now all I have to do is just sit here and do nothing. Wait, oh my God, is it finally done? Oh my God, after 3 days of sitting inside this little glass box, I have finally crossed over and well past level 1000. And it appears that the Enderman may have had a field day outside here. I genuinely don't know how a charge creeper got up there. Don't they have to get hit by lightning? He's inside. How does he get hit by lightning up there inside? Also, during those 3 days, while I was sitting doing absolutely nothing, I actually did a little bit of research, and I found out, unfortunately, there is no good way to enchant the Netherite back tank at the moment. It's a little bit of a bug. So the way I'm going to get around that is by making a new Netherite chest piece and then enchanting it and then converting it to a back tank. And there we go. Now I just have to make sure I get it fully enchanted with everything that I want before I upgrade it. So we'll do mending first, then protection, and then unbreaking. There we go, an enchanted Netherite back tank. So now everything looks right in the world. Nice. You can't even tell who I am under this, and it's fully enchanted. But now that I've got the best enchanted gear that you can possibly get in Minecraft, and I'm level 1146, I think the next thing I need to worry about is the fact that I have literally no iron. I've used Create to make some seriously insane builds in my hardcore world. The only problem is all those builds use a ton of iron, and I basically have none left. So to fix that, I'm going to build a factory with a massive iron generator inside that makes over 6,000 iron an hour. But before I work on any of that, I need to do a little bit of a side project, because if I want to make a super cool build, it means I need to do a whole bunch of crafting, and pretty much everything I need to craft uses iron in some way. And unfortunately, I don't think the amount of iron I have in this chest right here is going to cut it. I still can't get over the fact that I have more netherite in this chest right now than I have iron. But on a more positive note, this does give me the opportunity to test out the Fortune 4 pickaxe that I made last episode. Oh my God, why is he just chilling out there? Okay, I need to take a side exit. We're jumping off the balcony. Of all the places a creeper could chill, right in front of the front door. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted though, I'm gonna go do some caving with my new Fortune 4 pickaxe, see how much iron I can get, and then I'll do the crafting. Ah, home sweet home. I think it ended up being a relatively successful mining trip. I got about 4 stacks of raw iron, and I need to go process that down, so that'll probably be like maybe 5 or 6 stacks of iron ingots, which should be enough for all the crafting. And I did manage to snag some pointed dripstone, which is awesome because I hadn't gotten any yet, and I need it for generating lava. But that's like way down the line. For now, I just gotta dump all this stuff into the barrel up here. Oh my god, that's right though. This is still going really slow because it's using the old water wheels out there. Yeah, I think I have to fix this. I can't wait for all that to process down. It's gonna take forever. So, out with the old, and in with the new. Okay, well, I've successfully replicated the exact same water wheel setup I made on the other side of the base last video. Now I just need to hook it up to stuff up there and gear it up a ton. Now I just need to get it from here to here, rotation speed controller here, large cogwheel there, and 2 encased chain drives because I'm a create expert, and then just gearbox and shafts, and that should be it. Well, that sound tells me it is in fact working up there, so now I just need to figure out how much I can crank this rotation speed controller up. And obviously I also kind of need to repair this wall, but I can do all that once I speed this up. For now, I gotta dig in here even more. So obviously this is going in the wrong direction, so I need to speed it up and reverse it. Can we do 32? Can I do 40? No, I'll stay at 32. That should be good enough. There we go. That's what I like to see. Now I just gotta wait until it finishes processing like 4 stacks of iron. Oh my god, wait, is it already done? It is done. That was so much faster than last time. Okay, this isn't too bad. It's, you know, basically 5 stacks of iron to work with, including what I've got downstairs already. I can probably make that work, I hope. But wait, let's look at something really depressing here. All these nuggets of experience. Oh my god, it's literally doing nothing. But now that this chest has been sort of replenished, it's time to do some crafting. And it's gonna be a lot, so cue the intense crafting montage. Oh, thank God I can finally do this. Just put some mending on my sandpaper, and then if I just open this and stand under here, I should be able to just keep doing this. Forget all the rest of the gear. This might actually just be the single best thing about this entire XP factory. Oh, okay. I think that's it. I am mentally drained. I had to have just been crafting for at least an hour, and it was to make every single thing in this chest right here, which I think should be enough for the build for this episode. And then it was also to stock back up my toolbox, which should be good for a pretty long time, but I might actually burn through all of this in today's episode as well, so we'll just see. And the saddest part of all is that this chest is back to basically being empty when it comes to iron. I really need to get this iron generator going, and then I'm gonna have to deal with my lack of copper. But before I can even make use of everything in here that I just spent an hour crafting, I need to find a place where I'm actually going to build the factory that the iron generator is gonna go inside. And I'm thinking I'm gonna put it somewhere like right over here so that maybe I can put a cool bridge across the water eventually. The one thing I do know though is there's a ton of trees in the area I want to build in again, and even once those are gone, the ground is not going to be flat, which means a ton of work for me. But thankfully, this is another opportunity for me to try out the efficiency 6 netherite axe, and I'm really curious to see how it does taking down this entire forest. I should have used the mechanical saw here to bring the entire tree down all at once. Now instead, I'm rooting around up here in the leaves, trying to find every single piece, and I'm gonna miss one, and then it's just gonna be floating there taunting me forever. I think that should be good. There's still a whole lot of despawning that needs to happen, but the area is relatively cleared out. And I swear, guys, I don't hate nature. It's a coincidence, an unfortunate coincidence, that every single video so far has started with me destroying an entire forest. But now, if I haven't already done enough damage to the natural landscape, I need to do some terraforming because it's not really level over here. I gotta clear stuff out, which means it's time to use my third tool, which is the Netherite shovel. It's like being in creative mode. This is so much nicer than before. Watch this efficiency right here. I'll help out. Boom. Except now I have to repair this entire area. Now it's finally time to do some building. And I've gathered a whole ton of random building blocks in these two chests here, mainly because I don't really know what I'm trying to build, but I know that I need to build something, so I'm probably just gonna wing it and see what happens. I can't believe I just spent so long clearing out this entire area, and then I just placed back down almost every single piece of dirt that I picked up, just in a slightly different way. That's probably one of the dumber things that I've done, but I swear there's a reason. You just probably can't see it yet. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I'm trying to map out where I want the build to go, and I got to deal with these guys now? They literally don't do any damage to me with my gear on, but it's so annoying. Well, this is definitely something, but there's still a lot of work I need to do. Are you kidding me? The debuff from the first one isn't even gone yet, and there's another group there. How does that even happen? Well, it's starting to look a lot better, but I think I can improve it even more with just a few details. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think it's looking pretty great now, at least compared to what it started as. I'd say the hardest part is over. Now I just need to make the actual iron factory. I think the first most important thing is going to be clearing out all this dirt and getting some room to work with. Well, this is a little bit better, but now I have to fix the walls because I didn't really think about that, and I need to put in some floors. You know, I also really need to make like a garbage chute because I do not know what I'm going to do with all this dirt. And problem solved. You see, this is the problem with having the Fulbright mod. It's really nice for recording, and then I almost jump right down into this. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm reckless. Once I get all the floors down, though, I really need to light this place up, because I'm not letting mobs spawn everywhere. It's not happening. Okay, the floors are in, the walls are fixed, and now I can finally get into the technical stuff. The first thing I'm going to need is some kind of rotational power. And for the first time ever, I am going to be making a steam engine instead of just using water wheels. So I'm going to need some blaze burners and a bunch of fluid tanks, and then the steam engines on the side. And finally, I can't forget the shafts to actually get the rotational power from them. Now I just need to generate some lava so I can keep the blaze burners fueled to keep the boiler heated. I'm not totally sure the exact ratio, but I feel like 6 cauldrons should be enough. Then I just need some block for the dripstone to hang from, the actual dripstone itself, which looks pretty good with granite. And then the lava's obviously going to go here, but I'm going to try something new and use copycat panels to encase it so that it looks a little bit nicer. And I'm pretty sure I forgot the glass. Yep, I don't even have the block that I want to use with these. That seems about right. Oh my gosh, why is it that... Oh, no. He wasn't even looking at me. I could have just walked by. I didn't need to hit him. And now I should be good to just put all the lava buckets in here. Ho-ho, and one of them has already filled up. That's a good sign because I'm hoping that 6 of these will be enough to keep 4 of these running. I'm not sure. I might need to expand it, but I'm really hoping. So now if I just hook up fluid pipes under all of these, I should be good to pump it out into a spout. I really just need to figure out where I want the spout and depot and then eventual mechanical arm to go. I feel like maybe to start out, I do depot here, spout right above that, and then mechanical arm over here. And then if I put the mechanical pump here, this should connect to the mechanical arm, and I can run the rest of the pipes right up there, and that leaves me a little bit of room to expand in case I ever want to do a 4x2 instead of a 3x2. But now I need to do all the inputs and outputs, so I'm going to have it that only empty buckets can be input onto the depot, and then I just need to remove the lower level of the boiler, pick up the mechanical arm again, and set this so that it's outputting to all the blaze burners, also outputting to the brass funnel, and picking up from the depot. And I can just place these back down, and once there's water coming into this, it should be good to go. And you know what? Because it's so close, I'm actually just going to use the river out here to get water into the boiler. And I think this should be good to just pull right from here indefinitely. Okay, everything should be extremely crudely hooked up with a super messy setup for the rotational power, but it should be enough to try this out. So if I just fill all of these buckets with water, I should be able to manually put water into the boiler, and I need to make this all look way nicer with a ton of andesite casing and fixing the walls, but the most important part is that the boiler works, so please. Oh my god, it's occurring to me now that I can only fill this using a bucket when I'm testing stuff in creative. Oh my god, I need to go get a hand crank. Luckily, I have saved this all the way since the first episode because I knew that eventually I would need this again. Wait, is it finally working in there? Do I hear it working? Oh my gosh, it's finally working. The only thing is this needs to get about twice as much water, which means this needs to be a large cogwheel going into the small one to double it. There we go. That's better. Now it's a level 4. But now it's time to make the cobblestone generator, and I'm thinking I'm going to put it right over here, and I should have everything in my inventory to make the clever use of game mechanics cobblestone generator that I made last time. First I do the item vaults, then the andesite funnels, then the trap doors, a whole bunch of mechanical pumps, and finally the fluid tanks. Everything should be good to go here. Now I just need to do the really boring stuff like filling the fluid tanks with lava, filling all the pump area with water, encasing the entire thing, and then building the gantry carriage system that makes it go left to right to left to right, which breaks the cobblestone and makes more of it. So, you know, pretty much all the really important stuff to make it work still needs to get done. Okay, well, all the annoying stuff is done. I just need to eventually put the copycat panels to probably glass. I think I'm going to do glass for those again, but if I put this vertical gearbox down right here, it should start working. So it's working. Yes, so this works, which means now I have as much cobblestone as I need to feed into an eventual crushing wheel setup over here. Although I don't really know what I'm going to do with this whole situation. I guess I disconnect this for now and maybe clean up the area around it. Thankfully, now it's time to work on the coolest part of this, which is the crushing wheel setup, and that's going to go in this area right over here, because I'm going to have a lot of crushing wheels. So I'm thinking I'm going to do it with 2 setups across and then maybe build it out like 5 from the back. You know, maybe I go 6 just to be safe. Eventually, every single crushing wheel setup over here is going to be spitting out a ton of gravel, but I'm not too worried about that just yet because first I need to worry about getting the cobblestone from over in this item vault into the top of each of these setups. And I think I'm going to do that using a ton of chutes. I'm going to have all the chutes come out diagonally so they're right up against the wall, and then I'm going to bring each one up just a little bit higher. Now I just need to get a little bit of a weird belt system going so that I can evenly distribute the cobblestone into every single one of these chutes so that it's going to every single one of these crushing wheels. I think that should be good. So this is the main belt where all the cobblestone is going to feed into. And then I just need to use a whole bunch of these brass tunnels along here so I can divvy it up. And then I'll just have a really stupid horizontal looking belt right here in the middle of the floor. Oh my God, it physically pains me to look at this. Oh, it's so bad. It's just so bad. It's so bad. Okay, I tested it. It should be fine. It looks so much better. I couldn't bring myself to do it, guys. I couldn't have the diagonal belt. I also need to get rotational power to all the crushing wheels in here too, so maybe I just do that at the same time. So they're all connected, but they're all spinning way too slow and in the wrong direction. So easy fix. I don't think I need them to go all the way to 256. That's just crazy. Maybe for the moment I bring them down to half speed. I just need to get the fan hooked up now too. And now I'm really afraid to work around these things because they'll kill me if I walk into them. There we go. So now items are going up and they should make it all the way to the top. The crushing wheels are running. So this belt and these belts need to get hooked up, and then I will be getting way too much gravel dumped out on the floor down here. Just don't step into the massive wheels of death. There we go. It doesn't even look that bad. Except these guys. You guys don't look at it. Well, let's see if it all works. Everything should be going up, should be making its way into the crushing wheels unless I mess something up. And then gravel should end up down here in a really quick second, please. Oh my gosh, wait, these are all spinning the wrong way. I mean, it's fixable with 2 gearboxes. It's really basic, but how did I not realize that sooner? Now it should be working. Now I should be getting a lot of gravel. Now I've got a ton of gravel down here, which is great, and everything's working. I just need to reconnect this by putting this gearbox right here. My main goal when dealing with the gravel and the washing in general is going to be to do all of it with the entities actually sitting on the floor like they are right now. So I think I'm going to move these with water streams that run under all the crushing wheels on both sides, and then wash it in one central location, like somewhere over here. I've got the water streams and these should work fine, but now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put the encased fan over here, since it's going to probably blow from somewhere over here to push everything into one spot over here. This is getting super convoluted over here, but I think it should work. The water streams are going to wash all the gravel down here right up to where the trapdoor is. The encased fan is going to be blowing the items from over here all the way across, and when the items get here, they're going to get washed because the encased fan doesn't get blocked by the trapdoors. And finally, I think the items should be able to make their way under this brass funnel right here, which will have a filter for iron nuggets, only letting iron nuggets up into the chest, and then I'm going to put a smart chute down there that's going to drop the flint that gets washed down into lava. Eventually I might use it, but not right now. Once I set a filter, this should work. It's just really, really weird and messed up. So lava here, smart chute here, flint for the filter, and iron nuggets for the filter up here. When I hook this thing up, if everything's gonna work properly, this should fill up completely full of iron nuggets pretty darn fast. I just need to flip this one lever. This rate isn't too bad. I feel like it could be a little bit better, but that's not too bad. You know, I'm now realizing that I might be able to just get rid of the chest entirely and instead have this funnel going onto a belt right here, and this belt is then going to input them into these chutes, which are also going to blow the items upstairs. I'm just going to need another fan down here and a brass funnel right over here. It's starting to get real messy and crowded down here, but this should work. I got the rotational power properly hooked up, so this fan is pushing items upward now. This belt is carrying them over, and it should be going fast enough. Even though I don't have a filter on this, I can't filter it to be like a stack that it picks up at a time or what. At the rate at which this converts it and this is moving, there shouldn't be any delay caused by the speed. Now it's just a matter of getting stuff hooked up here. So the final piece of the puzzle up here, or pieces I should say, will be eventually an item vault over here to store all the iron, and then a bunch of basin and mechanical press right here to press it into ingots and then probably into blocks. But I think I'm going to work backwards and set up the item vault first, just so I can try and properly space everything else out. With the item vault there, I'm probably going to want a belt system running along the front like this maybe, that's collecting all the items that are coming out of the basin to go into the vault. And that would mean that the basin would go along like that, and then all the mechanical presses would line the top like this. That doesn't look too bad. I just need to make sure that all of these actually get used, because if they're all running at the same time, it'll look super cool. But if only one of these is running, then it's gonna look kind of lame. Then I'm just gonna need to run a belt system in the back here to dump all of the iron nuggets into each one of the basin. And I'm gonna need a whole lot of brass funnels to put into each one of these. And other than hooking up the rotational power, I think a little belt system right here, and then a brass funnel coming off of this, and finally a spruce trap door to make sure items don't fly out the top, should be enough to get everything here situated. There actually is one other thing that I need to do before I set up all the rotational power up here, which I'm sure is going to be a pain, so I'm not procrastinating, I promise, but I do need to set up filters that have both iron ingots and iron blocks, because I need the basin to be able to make both of them, but I can't let them make whatever they want, because I'm pretty sure they will then make iron trap doors, and that's going to be a huge waste. And yes, I know that I don't need to have these brass funnels on the front here, and I also know that it's going to be a huge waste because I need to also put item filters for these as well, but I think they look way nicer, so I'm going to put them there anyway, even though it's a waste. I get it. Hooking up the rotational power up here was so easy. What? It's gotta be because the back belt and the front belt don't have to be aligned, which makes it easier than it would normally be. So all I want is to be able to check now that everything is hooked up and at least doesn't look totally awful, that it all works. So if I go downstairs and flick on the cobblestone generator, I should eventually end up with iron blocks up there. If in a minute I see a bunch of iron blocks coming out of here, then I'm happy. You know, it is working, so I should consider that a win. My ears are dying listening to that down there, but I will say that the rate is not exactly what I want it to be, so I'm probably going to increase the size of the cobblestone generator down there, and then try and make everything look a little bit nicer in here and figure out what I'm doing with this staircase over here. Now to deal with this whole mess up here. I gotta say, I think it turned out pretty nice, at least up here it did. I tried to make the area look nice and cozy, added lighting that isn't torches, and I even put down a display board to show how many iron ingots I have in the item vault. I do have a concern that this is going to produce so many that this is going to end up being 5 digits, and I'm not sure what happens when it hits 5 digits, so I kind of want to find out. I didn't end up doing anything down here to make it look fancier, but that's just because I think all the create stuff looks really cool on its own, and nothing down here is really messy. Now I think the only thing left to do is flick this lever and see just how much iron per hour this whole thing can generate. Well, it's officially been 1 hour since I turned on the cobblestone generator down there, and the final total is about 6,300. There's still a little bit of cobble going through the system. All things considered, this system basically produces 100 iron ingots a minute, which is absolutely crazy. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say I'm never gonna run out of iron again. I've used Create to make a lot of insane builds in my hardcore world. The only problem is I need a ton of lava to power each one. So in this video, I'm going to build a working volcano with a massive lava generator inside it. But before I can work on anything too crazy, I need to get enough stone to actually build a volcano. I should just be able to steal a bunch of random leftover create blocks and make a stone generator though. Oh yeah, this'll definitely do the trick. That just sounded so weird. I don't even know. Now I just have to actually build the stone generator. And before anyone says or even thinks anything, no, I'm not going to be making the same cheaty cobblestone generator I've done for like the last 3 episodes. This time, I'm going old school. First, I need the chest for the stone to go in. Then I need a funnel to put the stone in there. And then I can set the filter to be stone so it doesn't pick up any of the cobblestone. Then I'm going to line a nice little path for the cobblestone with glass trapdoors. Then I need a sign here to stop the lava. Then I actually need the lava and an encased fan that's going to blow the lava across this whole area. Finally, I'm going to need a whole bunch of drills placed across the top, and I'm going to need them all facing down. Now I just need some water and lava to make some cobblestone. If you can believe it, that's actually it for the entire stone generator. The only problem is it doesn't have rotational power yet, so kind of got to fix that. You guys remember when I said I wasn't going to use water wheels anymore? So that was a lie. But that's totally okay, because now the stone generator is working and I should be getting stone in this chest over here. Oh wait, it's not even blowing far enough. So now the question is, how far can I crank up this rotation speed controller? Well, I guess the answer is not 32. It seems like it can work at 24, but what is this? It's spinning. Is the water down here messed up? Why is this generating nothing? This should be going twice as fast. Oh, there's dirt there. That's definitely a problem with the mod. Definitely not user error. Now it should be good to go way faster. There we go. Now it's cooking with some gas. We got stone coming in here, and it can probably go even faster. It would appear 56 is the limit. So I'd say the rate of stone generation here actually isn't all that bad for the setup. And you guys gotta admit, this setup looks pretty clean. I mean, come on. But it's now occurring to me that I probably should have built this whole thing right where I plan to make the volcano. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't see a great place for a volcano anywhere around here. And by that, I mean, I don't want it right next to my house. I guess there's only one option then. Pack her up, boys. We're moving out. I had enough room in my inventory, just barely, so silver lining and whatnot. Now it's time to find a place to build a volcano. You know what? I think this area is a pretty good one for a volcano. The house is over there though, so it's not too far away, but it's also not too close. Though I feel the urge to destroy the forest again in another episode. It has to be done. Okay, I think that should be enough. I need more leaves to despawn. This time, it's even worse. I didn't even pick up the logs. My inventory's been full, but it had to be done. So this area should be good to make a massive volcano now. Yeah, so that was a little bit of a lie. Turns out the area wasn't totally ready, so I did have to cut down a few additional trees. But now I think this whole area should be cleared out enough for me to at least start building my volcano. And yeah, it's gonna be big. I feel like there's a "that's what she said" joke in there somewhere, but I can't be bothered to find it, so we'll just blow past it. And now it's time to use all this good stuff to reassemble the stone generator right over here. Okay, well, the stone generator is now back up and running. So, you know, I've effectively rebuilt the exact same thing that I already built. So now I've got a whole bunch of stone in here, right where I'm going to do the building. I don't need to go all the way back over to my base over there. So I think I'm good to start. Okay, be honest. Which of you believed that I was actually going to build a volcano fully by hand? Come on. Come on. Obviously, I'm not going to build it by hand. I've got the schematic cannon, I've got a schematic, and I've got a schematic table to load this thing up. Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to take when I click this plus to load this thing. Oh, it exceeds the limit. Perfect time to go and change some create mod settings. I don't see any problem with just upping the limit. What could go wrong? Oh my gosh, it's done. The schematic has finished. Now I can just put down the schematic cannon next to this chest with all the stone in it, and it should be able to read that and keep using the stone that's coming in here from the generator. Now it's just a matter of placing down this schematic. Oh my god, it's so big. I'm really afraid to right click this. It's gonna look so bad. Did I crash my game? Did I crash my game? This is totally absurd. This is gonna take so long to paste into the world of the cannon. Oh my gosh. And it's ready to go. Now it's just time to sit back and watch a volcano be built. Yeah, so I may have gone just a little bit overboard. I have absolutely no idea how many blocks this is, but it took the schematic cannon about 5 or 6 hours to get this entire thing done, and that was with the schematic cannon set to shooting a single block every game tick. But it's finally done, which means I can tear down this stone generator, you know, for the second time. I'm not rebuilding it this time though, so it's staying torn down. And now that this is taken care of, it's time to do some work on this whole situation going on over here. It's not that it looks bad or anything, it's just kind of like a gray blob right now in the world, so it's not really a volcano yet. And the first thing I think I'm gonna do is carve an entrance like right around here. You know, I don't know if there's really a good way for me to figure out where the center of the volcano is while I'm still inside it. Up we go all the way to the top. Wow, look at this amazing view up here with my non-existent render distance. And back down I go now. So this cobblestone block right here symbolizes the very center of the volcano. I want to clear out a huge area around this. And thankfully this pickaxe is extremely overpowered. I feel like this is a pretty good start because I want the room to kind of be like a carved out circle inside the volcano, but it definitely needs to go up a little bit more and down a lot more. And because I know you guys are going to bring it up, yes, I placed down an entire solid volcano and then proceeded to almost immediately mine a bunch of it up. It's because I have the hands of a master craftsman. I think this should be enough room for what I have planned, so now all I need to do is build a walkway from the entrance to a circular platform in the middle. Well, after a bunch of messing around, this is what the room looks like. The plan is for the lava generation to go where all the cobblestone is, and then literally everything else in here is just gonna look cool, which means almost every single block in this entire area needs to change. And then that means it's time to go do some gathering. Worst of all, it's mainly gonna be in the Nether. Yeah, I don't actually think I need that many buckets. Wow, this is so much easier than I thought it would be because of the netherite gear. I don't even need to worry about the lava. Okay, this has taken forever to fill up, and placing down the lava, that's really quick, but running back and forth to get the lava, that's a pain in the butt. So I probably should have built a nether portal over here, but hey, I'm stupid. Sue me. What are you gonna do? But the one good thing that happened is I'm on my last bucket of lava, and I think this right here is the last thing that I need to put down. I think it's done. I don't see any flowing lava. Oh my god, please be done. Please let me out. The lava is done. The hardest part is done. Now I need to go and get a bunch of blocks to make this outer portion look a lot nicer. I really hope this is enough blocks to decorate this room with, because I definitely don't want to go and get more. Okay, I'm basically out of blocks to build with right now. I only have a bit left, but I think this area is looking absolutely awesome. There's still a lot of work to do, like putting the actual lava generation in the center, and I do want to have like lava coming down from higher up on the ceiling into this lower area eventually, but compared to how it originally looked, this thing's really starting to take shape. Okay, so I may have done a little bit more work around the room, adding in a few things here and there. I really need to stop myself though, because I could just keep adding little things for hours and hours and hours, and yeah, it'll look a lot cooler. I think the lava adds a lot to it, but it's already like 95% of the way there for me, so I need to work on the rest of this. And that means it's time to do a little bit of crafting. That actually didn't take that long. That wasn't too bad, and this should be pretty much everything I need to make the lava generator. There's just one quick pit stop I need to make before we go back to the volcano. Yeah, I'm gonna need some serious iron. Just gonna have to chuck some stuff on the floor for a second so I have some inventory room to work with. And this is really the most important part because I'm not gonna be using some crazy create method for generating the lava. I'm just gonna be using the typical vanilla Minecraft cauldron method. First, I'm just gonna slap down all 49 of these cauldrons. Then I'm going to put fluid pipes under every single one of them so I can automatically pull out the lava as it generates and just dump it right into one big fluid tank. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need more room to work with down here. Now I just need to put down 2 huge fluid tanks over in these corners. I can't imagine I would ever need more than both of these full of lava at any given time, so this should be fine. Now all I need to do is just use a mechanical pump to pull down from up there, and it can dump into both of these fluid tanks, and that should be good once I get it rotational power. And now it's time to make a belt system to automatically fill stuff with lava. I'm just going to connect 2 different sets of shafts right here in front of the fluid tanks, and then right in the middle, I'm going to put 2 spouts to actually fill the items with lava. I'm pretty sure these can fill items while they're on a belt, but if not and it doesn't work, then I just need to put 2 depots here. Then I just need to pull some lava from the fluid tanks to go into the spouts, and I am going to need to put a pump up here and flip it around so it pulls the lava out from either one of these and it fills these up. Oh man, you guys are gonna hate how I get the rotational power too. Don't look, just close your eyes. Don't even look at these right here. Before I do that though, I want to make an automatic item input and output so I can put stuff in like right up here. It drops down, goes on the belt system, then it goes back up this side over here. But because I think I'm going to put like a rim around the cauldrons so they're not so jarring where it's just ground level and then the cauldrons, I probably want to move it out 1 more as long as I don't end up having lava spill in here on either side. So I'm going to have a belt running from back there over here and then from over here to back there. Then I should be good to use brass tunnels on both sides. So over here it comes in and it can split them evenly between these 2, and then over here it's just so that it can direct them out this side. That should work fine. Now luckily for me on the input side, I'm just gonna have stuff come down a bunch of chutes, which I'm not gonna be looking at these ever, but I still like to make them glass. But I guess unfortunately for me, I need to shorten the belt by 1 on this side because I need the items to go back up, and I'm in a bit of a crammed space, which means it's gonna be an encased fan with a bunch of chutes going back up then to a barrel, and that also means that I am gonna need to get out a brass funnel and slap it right there so they can go into the chutes. And then I'm going to still make them glass, even though again I'm not going to see it. Now it looks exactly the same on both sides. And now that I've put down my 2 barrels up here, 1 for input and 1 for output, I think the only thing left is to get some rotational power hooked up down here and everything should be running fine. Initially, I wanted to do something really cool in the room above me with some lava wheels or magma wheels or whatever you want to call them. But unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I'm so limited on space up here that I am just going to end up with a room down here with a bunch of magma wheels, which is still cooler than water wheels. I'm never going to see that room up there. I'm almost definitely never going to see these down here too. So now I just need to ladder my way out of here. I know technically I don't need a source block of lava for each one, but I have to do it. I can't not do it, guys. But at least now I have rotational power. I just need to get it upstairs, and there's almost no way I need this much, but I had the room for it, and I really want to crank this up to go super fast. So if I ever need to make stuff like sturdy sheets, for example, where I might put down a bunch of powdered obsidian, I want it to go pretty quickly instead of waiting slowly for this to all fill. And the slowest part is going to be the spout filling with lava. So I'm going to need to really crank up the rotational power that I give to this pump right here. But hey, you know, doing rotational power in a confined space, what could go wrong? Yo, wait, that's actually so clean. What? It's nothing super fancy, but the rotational power actually wasn't messy at all. It was really easy to set up. And I think once there's lava in these, the color's going to be great. The whole color scheme really goes well together. All I need to do now is just go down here and see how high I can crank this thing up. I want like, can I do 128? Oh, I can? What? Well, I don't think I'd ever need more than this. So I guess now I got to get some lava generating up there so I can see how it all works. Oh my god, okay, it's been hours of working on stuff downstairs, and transporting this will be the 49th bucket of lava. That should be it. I don't see any flowing lava, which means this is done. That was extremely tedious to do, but it should be good. And now I can just go down. So this is what it took me multiple hours to do. I've been working on this for a while. I think that should be pretty much good for the lava generator. And down here, I just need to check, okay, so there is lava in these. And that means the last thing that I need to do to finish off this entire inner area of the volcano is just dump a bunch of buckets into this barrel right here, and they should fill up and all end in this barrel here. You know, assuming everything works properly and I didn't screw anything up, which is, I don't know, it's like a 50-50 shot. Nah, fingers crossed. Okay, so it works. And I'm actually going to need a lot of lava buckets for the next thing I'm going to work on. With the inside of the volcano done, I now need to work on the outside. And because I want this to be a functioning volcano, there's really two things. I need smoke eventually coming out of the top, and I need lava flowing down some of the sides at least. And that means I need to use Create to pretty much automate all of it. Before I start working on any of this though, I'm going to put a button down right here. And the goal is going to be that when I push this button, I can turn on and off the volcano. So I just need to start kind of carving into this so I have an area for the lava to sit in the middle and for the smoke to come out of. So the plan is going to be that right where this cobblestone is, this is where, when the volcano is erupting, the campfires are going to be that are going to have smoke coming out of the top here. And that means that the lava is going to go on this layer right here, and eventually I'll adjust the top so that you can see some of the lava and it's not just a flat top like this. But I can't put the lava in yet though. I need to automate the campfires going up and down to turn off and on the volcano first. I don't know if I'm totally sold on this shape. I don't want it to be a perfect square, so I'll leave it like this for now, and I'm just going to start filling this up with campfires, mainly just to verify that the smoke goes almost all the way to the top, but doesn't fully make it out. The next thing I need to do with the limited visibility that I have is to make sure that all these campfires are glued together in some fashion. I think that's all of them. I don't really know. I'm gonna hope that they're all glued together. Luckily for me, the last part is relatively easy since I just need a sticky mechanical piston here with 8 piston extension poles going down the bottom. Now it should just need some rotational power going into this gearbox and a little bit of redstone, which I'll make somewhere down here. Okay, I think this should probably work. I'm gonna have to test it out in a minute because I don't know if this redstone's going to work in practice, but in theory it should. The general idea is I got 2 magma wheels over here. I'm using the small one so it's a bit more compact because I really don't need that much stress capacity for this. Then I've got a rotation speed controller, just setting it up to 20 right now. Then I have a gear shift right here, which is gonna make it go up when I hit it once and then down when I hit the button again. And finally, I have the sequence gear shift, which right now is just set to extend or retract depending on the direction of rotation, the mechanical piston that this is going to be hooked up to. But now it's time to test this out. So if I put down a redstone link and I set the first frequency to a bucket of lava, when I hit this button, it should move them up. It's happening. Something's happening. Oh my gosh. I was about to say it wasn't going to work and it worked. And that looks actually so good. That was probably going to be the hardest part about automating this, and it really wasn't that complicated. Now though, I need lava to go out when that smoke starts going up. To get the lava to be in sync with when these campfires go up, I'm pretty sure I just need to use some dispensers with lava buckets and then redstone links that are on the same frequency. So I think I just assume that the dispenser will be right here. As long as it's somewhere around here, it should be fine, but it would place the lava right here. And I need to plan accordingly so that the lava makes its way down in a semi-guided pathway. I actually don't think this looks that bad. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think it's finally done. I'm probably jinxing myself by saying that, but I have 3 dispensers down, 1 over here, 1 over there, and then there's one that I can't see right now over there. I need to load each one of these up with a bucket of lava now, and then put down a redstone link somewhere on it. In this case, I think maybe under it, and then I need to set it to be receiving. Now I just got to do that with the other 2. That should be the last one, so now I can go down and really hope that it all works. And now, when I push this, it should all work. Okay, I see the lava came out here. The smoke should be coming out in a second. I'm gonna assume the lava on the other side came out too. There's the smoke. Okay, volcano is erupting. This is actually looking really, really good. Mission accomplished with the automation button. Now I just gotta figure out what I want to do about this blob of stone behind me. No, I got a feeling this is gonna be a lot of work. Yeah, so turns out I was right, and this did take a really long time, but I think it was all worth it because this is what I'm left with, and it's occurring to me now that you can't really see it all from this vantage point. Nah, it's fine. Just 1 second. 1 second. Having some technical difficulties here. So this is what I am left with. So now I officially have a working volcano in my world that I can turn on and off just by pushing this button. If you're ever asking yourself, well, why would you ever want to turn a volcano off? It's so I can turn it back on again, and that's just about it. And on top of that, I have this awesome lava generator room inside. So now I just need to figure out what I want to use all this lava for. I've used Create to build tons of farms in my hardcore world. The only problem is now my resource chest looks like this. Honestly, I don't even know how it's possible to end up with more netherite than gold, but here I am. So to fix that, I'm going to use Create to build the most absurdly overkill gold farm that I possibly can. To start out, I just need to find a place to even build the farm because if you couldn't already tell, it's going to be pretty big. I feel like this is a pretty good place to build a gold farm. It's not too close, but it's also not too far away, which is good enough for me. Now, aside from the lives of all the animals that I'm gonna ruin when I build here, there's also a slight problem of this little mountain behind me that I am gonna need to clear out before I can build here. On a more positive note though, I did plan ahead and I have an inventory full of Create components that I crafted that I'm gonna be able to use to make a pretty cool world eater that should do almost all the work for me. I don't want to brag, but I feel like this may be the single best idea I've literally ever had. I need to put a line of 100 drills going out that way, but it's obviously going to be a pain to do if I'm floating in the air. So if I just put one on here and then I hand crank this all the way down to basically ground level, I can walk across and then crank it all the way back up. You know, I had hoped when I finished building this whole thing that I'd be able to say, oh, that was way easier than I thought it would be. It wasn't actually that bad. Well, that is not the case. This was absolutely horrendous to build, especially because the redstone fought me tooth and nail, but now it should finally be done. I like to call this build the reverse 3D printer because when I connect the redstone right here, it's going to start running and it's going to use this gantry to go all the way to that side with that long line of drills clearing anything in the way. Then it's going to bounce back, go down one, and then do it all over again as many times as I want, all the way down to bedrock. So, you know, it's kind of like a 3D printer in reverse. Get it? Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The good news is the World Eater's done running and it did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, the bad news is it seems to have made a giant pool and I can't really build a gold farm in the middle of a pool. Oh, I guess that means it's time to do some cleaning. I'm not really sure how it happened, but while I was clearing all the water out of this area, somehow I ended up with this enormous mass of floating water that's just chilling there. I don't really know how or why this happens, and unfortunately, I am gonna have to go turn on the pump and get rid of this in a second here, but this is one of the weirder things that I've seen while playing Minecraft recently. And there goes all the magical floating water, which looks like it's now updating while it's disappearing. Oh, well, I guess it's not totally gone. Now I need to go remove that middle part, but it does look like it updated for the most part. So now it's not special anymore. It's just annoying water. Oh my gosh, is that it? Is it finally done? Please tell me it's finally done. Once all this water disappears, I will be so happy because this was supposed to be the easiest part of this whole build. Oh, yes. Okay. Now I just got to clean all this stuff up and then it's crafting time. Oh, finally. I don't think I've ever been so happy to just get home and do a bunch of crafting. Okay, I take it back. The crafting is no longer enjoyable. I definitely need to finally upgrade these mechanical crafters because I've put it off for a while and I need to make like 150, 200, maybe even more crushing wheels. If I have to do that at the rate that it's happening right now, I'm actually gonna lose my mind. Oh my gosh, would you look at that? It only took like 10 minutes to make 2 crushing wheels. Well, I had to tear off this entire back wall of my house here to make the first upgrade, but it's one you guys have been asking for a while now. It's really simple, just connecting this entire outer ring of crafters here so that I can just input the andesite alloy into one, and it'll spread out through all the outer ones. The second upgrade that needs to happen is the speed of the mechanical crafters, and you guys are gonna hate me for this one. Look, I'm not proud of this solution, and it's not going to stay this way forever, but it will work to speed up the mechanical crafters, and it's pretty easy to do. I feel like the fact that I used a bunch of water wheels, though, should be offset by the fact that I used encased chain drives, which is pretty awesome instead of gearboxes like a simpleton. Let's see how high I can crank this thing up. Can I do 64? Can I do 96? No, okay. It appears that 67 somehow is the sweet spot here. Yeah, I'll fix that wall later. Probably. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. The crafting is so much faster now, and it auto refills all the andesite alloy. Now I'm cooking with fire. Oh, okay. I think the crafting is finally done. I guess technically I filled up this chest and then I also refilled almost everything in the toolbox because obviously I'm going to need all of it, but I don't even want you guys to know how many hours I spent filling both of these up. On the bright side though, that means that I can finally start building the gold farm. Oh my God, I didn't even think through how I'm going to get all this stuff over there. Correction. Now I can start building the gold farm. Now these crushing wheels are only going to cover the very first 2 steps of the process, which is taking the cobblestone, crushing it down into gravel, and then taking that gravel and crushing it down again into sand, and then occasionally some flint, and even less occasionally clay balls. It definitely took longer to place down than the crushing wheels, but the washing area of the gold farm is now finally done as well. And this whole area in here is what's going to allow me to take sand and bulk wash it down to get the mediocre chance at getting more clay balls. And then these I'm going to be packing down into regular clay. And if you're wondering, Rage, why do you want so much clay? Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just want to go over 2 kind of important things first. Number 1, all the flint is going to be dumped out the back here, and this whole thing is eventually going to be filled with lava. So I am ditching the flint. I know there are uses for the flint, but I don't really care about them, so it's just getting thrown into the trash. Second thing, and probably the more important thing, if you're wondering why this is so long here, it is actually actually 19 blocks wide, which happens to be the exact distance that an encased fan will blow if it is powered at 256 RPM, meaning the encased fans over here just barely manage to also help with washing the sand that's going to be right here. So yes, this is in fact a mathematically accurate gold farm. I went to school, I do the math. Of course, I'm one lava short. I guess it's a good thing somebody thought ahead and made an infinite lava farm. And if you can believe it, this right here is the entirety of the rest of the gold farm. It's actually fully done now. So the basin right here are going to be making tons and tons of blocks of clay, which is going to be output onto the very slow moving belt right here. And again, we're going to have encased fans from each side traveling all the way across to bulk blast all the clay down into terracotta, which is going to enter these tunnels right here. And because of how the tunnels work, they're going to all go in there and funnel all the way down right out here and into this barrel, which is going to act as a central collection point and only output stacks of terracotta instead of the system getting bogged down because one block at a time is flowing really quickly into these crushing wheels, which are then going to crush the terracotta down into red sand, and that is then again going to be washed in this little washing system right here, a stack at a time, before it is turned into gold nuggets. Oh man, is anybody else out of breath after that? The only problem with this is I feel like it's pretty cool and all, and this alone would probably give me more gold than I would ever possibly need because the output rate's going to be really high, but what if I built another? The second gold farm is also now done, and I gotta say, it's also looking pretty sweet. I actually had the most insane idea while I was building it. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. What if I made 2 more? You know, I'll be the first to admit there's a possibility that this build is getting just slightly out of hand. I mean, I've got 4 of these things now, and each one of these is going to need to be powered at like 256 RPM and have a constant stream of cobblestone just being fed into it. I don't know if you guys understand how much power it's going to take just to run all 72 of these crushing wheels at 256 RPM. And then I have to do that 4 times. And then the rest of this stuff too. That's going to be crazy. I'm not even going to think about that yet. But since I've already come this far, what if I just doubled down? No. Okay. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not actually that crazy. Okay, I'm officially putting my foot down and I am not building any additional gold production for the gold farm. Now, don't get me wrong, this right here is absolutely awesome and it's not even done yet. It is without a doubt going to be the most insane build in my entire world so far, but that brings with it a couple problems. The first problem is I just have no idea what kind of rates to expect from this setup, and the second problem is I don't even know what's going to happen when I turn this on, if it's going to lag super bad, if it's going to crash the world, or maybe it just works perfectly fine. But the only way to turn this thing on is if I have cobblestone generation and a whole bunch of rotational power generation. So I need to build both of those. And as you can pretty clearly see, my create resource chest is relatively depleted after the building extravaganza that happened over the last like 12 hours here. So that means it's time for a quick nap, and then I gotta head back to the base and do just a little bit more crafting. I'm really hoping that that is the last crafting session that I'm going to need for this build. And these two chests right here are what I have to show for it. And let's not talk about how messy each one is. I was not organized when I was lugging stuff from the base back over here. I'm going to start out by building everybody's favorite create mod cobblestone generator, which begins with 3 layers of item vaults to store all the cobblestone inside. Then there's a layer of andesite funnels to insert all the cobblestone into the item vaults. Then there's a layer of spruce trapdoors to actually break the cobblestone once it's formed. Next, there's a layer of mechanical pumps to pump out a little bit of lava to make the cobblestone. And then finally, the top layer of fluid tanks that hold 1 bucket of lava each. And then technically, I guess it needs the gantry carriage set up on the side that actually makes the entire thing work. There we go. Now the cobblestone generator is roughly 95% done. The last thing to do is just get the lava and the water in there, and it should be good to go. You guys want to know a fun secret though? That last 5% takes even longer than the first 95%. So this cobblestone generator should be 100% good to go, and that means I just need to do this same thing 7 more times, and then all the cobblestone generation for this entire build should just be fully taken care of. You guys have no idea how happy I am that all 8 of the cobblestone generators are finally done. Obviously, each one of these is going to need rotational power going into the gantries and into the pumps and pulling the cobblestone out. All that stuff is going to come later, but for now, I'm going to assume that each one is perfectly made, and then I'll wait until I turn them on to see where the small problems are. And that means it is finally time for the last building portion of the gold farm, which is going to go right back here, and that is going to be 8 level 9 steam boilers. And then the steam boiler and the cobblestone generator are going to feed into their own module or portion or subset of the gold farm. This is going to be fed by its own cobblestone generator and its own steam boiler, mainly because of these horrific 72 crushing wheels right here. But that's enough talking. It's time to get building. And boiling. Yep, I definitely just said that. To start out, the steam boiler is going to need blaze burners, then a whole bunch of fluid tanks. If I'm being honest, I actually don't know how many it even needs, so I'm gonna hope that's enough. And then it's gonna need steam engines, and then each of those is gonna need to connect to a shaft. Now, as you can clearly see, the boiler status here, it's got the size that it needs, but it needs some water and some heat, which means I'm gonna need to pump water into this thing, obviously, and then allegedly I can pump lava directly into the blaze burners, so I'm gonna test that out, and that's gonna determine if I appreciate you guys or I hate you guys for lying to me. I always get comments that are like, Rage, you can just pump the lava directly into the blaze burners now, so I'm gonna act like the Mythbusters. I'm gonna see about busting the myth, and if it's true, then it's the greatest thing ever. See, now I'm just gonna say right out the gate, the fact that this is not connecting to each blaze burner is wildly concerning to me. We gotta take a pause. I gotta look this up. I have to do it. You guys think you're so smart, but I looked it up and it's not in base create. You need an add-on to be able to pump lava directly into blaze burners. Now, should I probably download the mod to make my life easier? Absolutely, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna prove a point. That means it's time to go old school. Mechanical arm to fuel the blaze burners, depot for the bucket to sit on, spout to fill said bucket with lava, a little bit of fluid pipe action to get the lava to the spout, and then one big boy lava generator to make sure this thing's always boiling. Okay, I think the old school level 9 steam boiler is finally done. It doesn't look super impressive right now with how it's running, but once these blaze burners get heated up, then it's gonna start cooking. And I'm pretty sure if I just put a bucket down on this depot, it should start speeding up because there is lava in there. I guess there was one thing of lava in there. Oh my god, I actually forgot to put down the brass funnel on the depot to put the bucket back. Oh, what a rookie mistake. Do you guys know what that sound is? That is the sound of 8 level 9 steam boilers running in perfect harmony. And that means that finally, after days and days of planning and crafting and way too much building, this absolutely insane gold farm is pretty much ready to go. The only thing left to do is for me to connect every different piece together, and then it can finally turn on. I'm not going to pretend that the rotational power is the hardest part of all of this, but it's definitely not the easiest. It's just a whole mess of assorted RPMs, which makes it extremely difficult to connect everything. Right now, I'm working on this one over here, which is the second one, and I have already hooked up and tested out this first one, and then there's still the ones that are up in the air. I don't even want to think about those yet. This is the first time I'm getting a chance to take a step back and look at this build as one big thing, and it looks absolutely insane. It's so much cooler than I could have imagined when I started the whole project. I've spent over a week working on this thing, well over a week at this point, but there's still 2 things left that I need to do before I can say it's completely ready to go. The first thing I need to do is make an on-off switch, because there's no way when all of these are running at the same time that it does not completely destroy my FPS. So I think just putting a lever right here that I can flick on and off to turn every single part of this on and off will be good, and then it'll just be a redstone link at the back with a gold frequency. And then all I need to do is run over to the clutch over here, put down another redstone link on each one of these, set that to the gold frequency, and then this, along with all the others, should be able to be turned on and off by that lever over there. It feels like I just kind of made a giant red self-destruct button right over here, except it's for my PC instead of like a villain's headquarters in a movie. I don't want anything to start until it's perfect. That way we can all enjoy it together, assuming nothing goes horribly wrong. The second thing I need to do, which is a little bit dumber but more fun I guess, is deal with the gold output that's coming off this belt right here, because obviously at the moment it's just shooting out into nothing. And the kind of fun way that I want to deal with this is by having a weighted ejector at the end of each of these belts that's going to chuck all the gold into one central point right here. So I should be good to just slap it down and do a little bit of rotational power magic, and I think that should be good. It's gonna look so stupid when it turns on. Okay, everything should be perfectly hooked up now. I'm a little bit concerned because I think I lost one piece of cobblestone while I was hooking some of the weighted ejectors up, which has me worried that it might be blocking a belt somewhere, but regardless, it's the moment of truth. I'm not gonna know until I try it. So, oh my gosh, my FPS. Oh no. Okay, stuff is being shot at me, I think. Oh, here it comes. Oh my god. Okay, some of them are overshooting a little bit. I'm assuming those are the ones that are higher up though. There we go. That's already over a stack of gold. Okay, I'll admit it. That looks so awesome. I actually love all the weighted ejectors just chucking the gold into the center. Now I just got to figure out where I'm going to put all this. I've used Create to make a lot of excessively large builds in my hardcore world. Some people might call it overcompensating, but I prefer to look at it as overachieving. But regardless of what you want to call it, I'm going to continue that trend by using Create to completely transform an entire village. Hey, call me Samuel Slater because I'm about to start an industrial revolution. Yep. I just started my video out with a history joke. That just happened. So the first thing I need to do is relatively simple. I just need to find a village. The only slight hiccup is there's not really any villages in the immediate vicinity of my base, and don't let my horrible 12 render distance fool you guys. I promise they are not out there. Just in case you guys don't believe me, I'm probably gonna regret this, but here we go. Well, it took like a billion years to load in all the new chunks, but yep, as you can see, there's no traces of any village anywhere. We've got just nature, which, you know, that's cool and all, but there's no village. So my plan, which is clearly the only option, is just to pick a direction. So I'm picking this one and I'm just gonna run. You know, the further I get away from my base, the more I feel like maybe this wasn't the best decision. Okay, well, I had to kill some local sheep, but their sacrifice will be remembered because I'm going to be able to use them to make a bed. There we go. That's what Minecraft intended. That's called being resourceful. Oh my god. Okay, I just climbed up the mountain, literally right after I slept down there, and I am seeing part of a village right over there. It finally happened. And it doesn't look like it's in a bad biome either. This could be the one. I just really, please do not let this village be horrible. Are you kidding me? What is this? This may be one of the worst terrain generation villages I've literally ever seen. Look at the hay bales. Why are they're flat on the ground over here. They're just a mess. Well, after evaluating the whole situation going on here, I've determined that this village is literal garbage. So I don't really want to build on this one or transform this one. So I'm going to pretend that I didn't even see this, and I'm just going to keep going. Well, I did a fair bit more exploring, and I have come to the informed conclusion that this is the only village left in my entire Minecraft world. And you know what? Maybe it's actually perfect, because the more I think about it, if any village needed a complete overhaul, it's this village. Not to insult this village in any way, but I mean, I said it before, this village is, it's a total teardown. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. So the first problem of needing to find a village is solved. The second problem I have to deal with now is that I'm at the village and I have nothing that I need to do the complete transformation. So I need to head back to the base and craft all that stuff up. Oh, okay. It's a good thing I have feather falling. I was not paying attention while I was running, and you can very clearly tell that the mega gold farm isn't running, not because none of this stuff is moving, but because I actually have 60 FPS right now instead of the 5 or so that I get when this thing's turned on. I'll be honest, those particles over there will never not look stupid to me, because for some reason, when nothing else is loaded in, it still loads in the particles coming from the campfires, which I don't really understand, because the campfires themselves aren't even loaded in at that point. But why not? Let's just load the particles in. Okay, I'm finally home, and now it's time to get crafting. I'll be honest, guys, I'm actually super overwhelmed right now thinking of all the stuff that I need to make, so I don't know how people do this in real life, back when they were making towns and stuff from nothing. I can't even do it in a video game. I guess I'm out of andesite now. I didn't realize that I had none, so I think I need to make a little bit of a detour. I'll just need to take some of these and some of these. Oh, and I also need to take my toolbox with me, and that should be good. If you guys couldn't already guess, I'm going to be making an andesite generator because there is this recipe for making andesite, which is actually super simple. If you've got lava, some gravel, and then a whole bunch of flint. And obviously in here, I've got plenty of lava. And then over at the mega gold farm, I've got plenty of gravel and flint. I'm now realizing that I forgot to bring fluid pipes. This time it's intentional, me jumping down here, not a mistake. I'll get my gravel and I'll get my flint in a second here. I'm gonna have to kill my FPS to do that. But the first thing I really want to check is every time I make these builds, I leave all these chests around that have excess items in it that I had used to make the build because I don't actually figure out how many I need before I do it. And I'm really assuming with how many fluid pipes I use that there have to be, there it is, 56 fluid pipes. I knew it. Oh, and an extra andesite casing. Don't mind if I do. Now the flint is currently being dumped out the back here, so I just need to get rid of some of this lava. I don't really know how much I need, but then the gravel is in this chute right here, and I'm curious if I can just right click it out. So really all I need to do is just sit here, constantly click out the gravel when I turn this on, and then get rid of a couple pieces of flint right here and just let it spill out into my inventory. This may seem stupid, but I really want to put the lava back down, even if technically I could just let it flow over here. So I do need to save this as I move it. So that should be enough there for the flint to spill out. And then all I need to do is turn this thing on and lose all my FPS. Oh, this is going to be so bad. Oh, there it is. There goes the FPS. It's time to go get gravel and flint. Okay, so the flint is down here. I just need to make my way down. Yep, there we go. Okay, news for everyone. It is hard to play Minecraft at no FPS. I gotta remember to turn this thing off too, and I don't even want to know how many stacks of gold are just sitting there. Oh yes, my frames are back. Now I'm realizing I'm not going to be stupid and fill this entire room with lava. If I put a fluid pipe down up here, I'm pretty sure I would fill the entire room with lava, or it would start at least. So I need to go from the bottom and then go up, and that should work. There we go. Fill it up with lava, and then if I just dump gravel and flint, nice, it goes right to andesite. Oh no, wait, it's making it into polished andesite. No, no. Oh my gosh, you know what? I should take this as an opportunity to add in a brass funnel, and let's filter out the andesite so it just drops it when it's done. No more potential accidents here. I'm out of flint now, so I think that's all she wrote for this one. And you guys also get mad at me every time I just completely destroy flint in any of these mega farms. So, haha, I finally made use of it, if only for a couple minutes, but I did it. I made use of it. And now I just tear all this stuff down. Nope, 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 nope. Just go into the house. What are the odds that after I finish crafting, that creeper is right at the door when I walk out? Definitely 0% chance, right? Well, at least now you guys know that it's a classic Rage Create mod video, because yet again, I have clear cut a huge part of a forest, but it's a little bit different this time because, you know, I've started caring about the environment. I've actually replanted some of the trees this time. Thankfully, I think I'm done with all the crafting. I've got this whole chest right here that's got, you know, a bunch of create components, and then my toolbox with a ton of more stuff in it. But obviously this is way too much for me to just carry in my inventory. So I'm going to solve this using create. What do you think? This is the create mod shulker box. The only nice thing is you can make it bigger, then pick this up and carry it with all the stuff in it. And then when I'm ready, I just pop it back down. And there I go. Okay, I'm gonna jinx myself by saying, for the time being, I think this is pretty much everything that I need. I'm sure there's more stuff that I'll figure out later, but for now, I can't think of anything else. So it's time to pick all this up and then pick this stuff up as well and head back over to the village. And I mean, come on, look at how clean my inventory is right now. Look at this. Within 5 minutes, my inventory will look disgusting. Once I start working on the village over there, oh, it's gonna get really out of hand really quick. I don't know about you guys, but I actually feel like somehow this village looks worse now than the first time that I saw it. Maybe it's the way the light's hitting it, but this is gonna be a whole lot of work. So for the last hour and a half, I've been terraforming this area over here, and the problem comes when I look over this overhang right here, and I keep saying this, but I feel like every time I look at this, it just gets worse. So dealing with this whole area right here would take me hours to even get enough dirt to fill it in and clear out areas over there and then put it in here and level it all off. It would just be a huge mess. And obviously I have torn down all the village houses in here, and I think I have a plan to make it at least a little bit quicker. And surprising as it may seem, my plan actually involves using create, and specifically the schematic cannon, to automate pretty much all of the filling in that I have to do over here. And I just made a huge block of dirt. So you can see it right here. It's just a huge area of dirt. So I should be able to pop this into the schematic cannon and just repeatedly have it place down huge chunks of dirt so that I don't need to manually fill this in. And I'm pretty sure if I have the correct setting, it won't replace blocks that are already there. So it should go even faster, and I can just well, I need to remember how to properly move this. I think I need to come to one of the sides. So I should just be able to move this over into the first area. Okay, I think I've moved it into the correct spot. This should be good enough for now to test this out. So then I just pop this in there. I put the gunpowder in there, put a whole big chest of dirt in here. I'm really hoping if I hit this button, it all works. Okay, that is one downside. I guess it doesn't treat path blocks as a solid block, which is interesting because it's essentially just dirt, but either way, it's working. The only problem is it's going really slow, but we have dealt with this before. It came up when I was using this to print an entire base of a volcano. So the way around that is I just have to go into the create settings, and I think it's gameplay settings, and then schematic cannon. And if I reduce this to 1, and then I save it, there we go. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking with fire. That's crazy. Is it running through gunpowder too fast though? Oh, no, that's not bad at all. Maybe this is what they're talking about when you hear people complaining about like jobs being taken away by automation. Maybe it's this right here. We're watching it happen live in Minecraft. Less than one single print here. It used up more, well, it used up an entire chest of dirt, which means that for a single box, it's going to take up more than a single chest, but that's at least better than me also having to place it all down. I never want to place another block of dirt or grass again in Minecraft, but on a positive note, the terraforming project should be for the most part finished. The schematic cannon has been doing fantastic work, but even with this thing running almost the entire time I was also manually terraforming, I still spent about 4 to 5 more hours over the last 2 days getting this entire area to look like this, but in the end, I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I think this looks like a fantastic area to rebuild a village, which is going to need to start happening soon because there are some villagers around here still, and I've torn down pretty much every house except these 3. I also do think there might be some villagers that are trapped underground from the schematic cannon, but I'm just kind of going to pretend that that's not a thing. Now, for rebuilding the village, there's a couple main buildings that I want. I want a farmhouse, I want a forge, I want a workshop, an enchanter, and then finally a trading area. The only problem is, and there is always a problem, but this chest right here, which pretty much has all my create stuff in it, doesn't have anything that I need to make the trading area, and that's what I want to start with because it's going to be the center of the town right there. And that means that before I can start any of the building on any of the village, I have to go back to the base, do even more crafting of create stuff, and then lug it all back here. I think I should have everything I need finally to start the building, and the first thing that I want to do is the town center and the trading area, which is going to go right here. And the first thing that I need is a water feature, which may sound a little bit weird. Well, that's definitely not it. Look, it may not be the fanciest water feature you've ever seen in a town, but this should do the trick. It's nice, it's simple, it's elegant. That's how I like to look at it. But if you thought it was weird that I started with the water feature, it's actually the same reason that I went back and crafted regular water wheels instead of the large water wheels that I had in the chests over there. And that's because I want to put water wheels down just like this, and this, and this, and if you can believe it, also like this. They're not super intrusive, but you can still see them, and I'm going to use these to generate the rotational power that the trading stalls that are going to go around this will need. The next problem though is just how I'm going to get the rotational power from these to the trading stalls. And here we have the world first create mod fountain generating a massive 1,024 stress units. Now, when I say world first, I mean like world first in my Minecraft world, but it still counts. So now that I've got the power generation, I can finally start making the trading stalls, and my inventory is an absolute mess because there's a whole lot of stuff I'm gonna need for these. So I guess I just jump right into it. For a basic trading stall, this actually looks pretty good. This is a relatively common style for these, but I made sure that it is just big enough inside to do a bunch of cool create stuff with it. So to start out, I need to put 2 different depots on the front right here, and one of these is going to be for paying, and then one of these is going to be for taking your item. Then I'm going to have 2 barrels down here. This one's going to be taking payment, and it's going to have a funnel on the top, mainly because there's going to be some redstone junk going over here that otherwise would break this whole setup. And then over here, we're going to have a funnel, but instead of putting stuff in, it is going to be taking stuff out and putting it onto a depot right there. Yep, I'm just going to chuck a bunch of stuff out here because this is super cramped and hard to work, even when your inventory isn't overflowing. The next and most fun part is the redstone. So this is where the payment is going to be placed. So under this, we're going to have a smart observer, and that's going to detect if the correct form of payment is there. That'll output a redstone signal, and then we're going to need redstone dust here, and then finally a redstone torch over here so that it disables items coming out of this barrel until there's payment on here, and then this will put an item out, which will then go up there. Then finally, we're going to have a mechanical arm that's going to take payment from here and put it in here. And then we're gonna have another one that's going to take the items from down there and put them up here. And that one is going to sit right there. You know, the funny thing is this is probably the most technical build out of everything I'm gonna make. And it's just for a trading stall, but it's to make it functional. That should be it though. So the rest is just gonna be decorating stuff. So eventually, once I figure out what's being sold here, it'll be what you have to pay and then what you get. I just have to add in these very last finishing touches, and I think that should do it. So the entire trading area should be both complete in terms of detailing, and I think this looks great. For my building skills, this is probably about the best that I'm gonna get, but the most important part is now the rotational power is hooked up. Surprising as it may seem, I'm pretty sure from a technical standpoint, this was actually one of the more complicated builds, but with this now done, I think it's a good time to work on the farmhouse, you know, give my brain a little bit of a break. And I do think this area right here looks pretty much perfect because I'm gonna need a lot of area for farmland, and mainly just because I have no clue what else to do with it. This weird gradual slope right here that's got all the disgusting path blocks still on it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to cover this completely in wheat with maybe a little path going down it. So building the farm up here makes my life a whole lot easier. Saying that now, I'm sure I just jinxed myself. What are you guys doing over here? What? What do you guys think? Isn't this a sick farmhouse right here? Wouldn't you like to live here and, you know, do some farming? Nah, okay, obviously I'm totally messing with you guys. So this is the rough outline of the build. Now I actually need to go and make it look good. So it's like a HGTV before and after. Is HGTV even still a thing? Am I like dating myself very heavily? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is already starting to look a whole lot better. And honestly, this is most of the detail that I plan on doing for like base vanilla Minecraft building. So I tried to add in textures and details and whatnot. And obviously I think it'll look better once the crops grow, and I'm going to put a lot more crops and details over here and connect the paths and stuff. But for the time being, this is good enough because now I need to put the create stuff inside, since, you know, going in here, I'm not going to say there's a lot of room to work with. There is some room to work with. And my goal is to use this little farm area right here to automate bread production inside here using a windmill that's going to go right up there, which I think will add a whole lot to the build. So I think I have everything I need to do that. all the create stuff is done. So just right from the outside, I feel like the windmill looks so good. I think I took this design from Disruptive Builds. I really like the way it looks compared to the ones I normally do. We've got that, and it's powering everything in here. And we've got portable storage interface, which is going to take the wheat from this farm out here. It's going to bring it across and it'll go into the millstone. It'll only pull out the wheat flour. Then it's going to wash it with water, turn it into dough, and then it's going to cook it down, turn it into bread, and that's going to end up here. The one thing you might notice is it's running really slow, and yeah, I could speed it up, but this speed is actually perfect so that this singular block right here is able to wash it into dough, and this singular block right here is able to cook it down into bread. So it all just kind of works out. Now the only thing left to do for this is finish up this create farm right here, and then I'm pretty sure I have a shortage of seeds because I need to cover this entire area in wheat and then make a little path for it, and that's how I'm gonna kind of tie all this stuff together. And I don't even have them in my inventory, but I'm pretty sure over here I've got about, what, 47 seeds? 44 seeds. So I'm not a mathematician, but I feel like the numbers just don't add up. I don't think 44 seeds is gonna cover this. I don't know if there has ever been a single moment in Minecraft history where someone's been like, I wish I had more seeds clogging up all my chests. I don't know whose idea it was to build all this stuff at a village that's so far away from my base and literally everything else in the world, but I'm pretty confident in saying that whoever's idea it was, they're an idiot. Just flat out. Please have a secret stash of seeds, please. If there's anywhere that there will be seeds, it'll be in here from processing a bunch of wheat in the millstone. Oh, okay. It's not much, but it's something. Whew, okay, after a relatively long round trip, I've got seeds. I think I'm gonna fill out this whole area and then do a bunch of detailing around here to make it look nicer. So let's get back into the montage. Look at me. I am the farmer now. Skylar, I am the one who farms. That's pretty much all the dumb show quotes that I have that could be made into that joke, but in all seriousness, I have made so many farms at this point. I've got 3 new farms over here, one for potatoes, one for carrots. I think this one's the carrots, and then another bigger one for wheat. And they're all powered by this vertical windmill. And this is the only design that I know for vertical windmills, but I've got all of these now. And then I have this entire area over here planted with like 10 stacks of wheat seeds. So I think that should pretty much take care of it for the entire farming area. There's still decorating that I need to do, especially over here, and a whole lot of other things to tie it all together. But this took me so long to make and do all the planting and whatnot that I just need to get moving on another one of these big builds, and then I'll come back and decorate it all at the end. To try to help with being a little bit more efficient on the next couple of builds, I did pick back up my minecart contraption, and I also, okay, well, scratch that. I was gonna say I cleared out my inventory. For the most part, I cleared out my inventory until it became nighttime and I picked up a bunch of mob drops, but for the most part, all the stuff in here should now be organized. I can move it a little bit closer. So now I just need to get working on the next build, which I believe is gonna be right over here, and it's going to be like a church enchanter thing. I don't know what you call it. It's gonna have enchanting stuff in it. This is gonna sound horrible, but why does it take so long to tear down an innocent person's home? Like, I have good tools. I've got pretty much maxed out tools, and it still takes a really long time to tear these things down. Yeah, that is pretty bad, though. I'm like the wealthy natural gas company that, you know, buys the land rights to an area and then just comes in and fracks and ruins everything and destroys people's homes. And if they don't destroy their homes, then they make their water contain methane and it lights on fire. That's me right now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't help my case that I'm just... I'm leaving that guy to chill right there. I'm taking all their stuff and I'm leaving them on the edge of a cliff. Dude, there's literally not even a village here yet for these guys to attack. Like, come on. Can't you let me build the village first? Oh no, I have the debuff now. If I walk in there because it used to be a village, is that gonna trigger a raid? There has to be a cow around here somewhere, right? Look at that. It's like the lone savior just sitting up there. Back to building. You know, I spent the entire time I was building this, which was again a surprising amount of time, trying to come up with like the appropriate name to call it. I still don't know. So this is going to be the Enchantery because it's going to have a bunch of enchanting create stuff in it, and that's pretty much it. I don't know why when I was planning this whole thing out I decided to do this, but regardless, now it's time to fill it with create stuff, and there is yet again not really much room to work with in here. So yeah, this will be interesting to see. I have no idea how I'm going to set this stuff up. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I don't know why. I was like, yeah, this could look good. if I just string these together and cover them up, this is surely a good way to do this. No, that is not. You know, since the direction of this belt really doesn't matter at all, I'm just going to say that's the correct direction. And that means that the create stuff in the Enchantery is done. So starting outside, it's got a singular large water wheel that's powering the whole thing, and that's pretty much more than enough for it. Then I have some exposed cog wheels in here because I actually think they just look kind of cool. Then I've got a whole bunch of fluid tanks. I definitely don't need this many, but it fills in the space when nothing else would. And honestly, I also think they look really cool. I like the green from the liquid experience, so it's an excuse to show more of that. And then finally, that liquid experience will get pulled out and can either come over to a printer, which is going to be able to copy enchanted books, or to this spout right here where I can turn it twice and rain experience down on myself. And like I said earlier, I'm going to leave all the outside decorations and even making the path and all of that stuff, trees, little village houses, all of that until the end. So I'm going to go on to the next building, which is going to be a forge. And I think I'm going to put it right over here. You know what? I guess I also kind of lied to myself because I said I was going to keep my inventory organized, and it happened for all of 5 minutes. And then it just kind of fell apart again, which I guess is to be expected. You know, these builds take a really long time to make, but as I'm placing everything down and, you know, now we've got the farm and the Enchantery, and now I have the forge done, I mean, this place is really starting to come together. There's a ton of dead space in between each build that I need to fill in, again, with, you know, basic villager houses and paths and trees and general decorations and stuff, but I am really liking how this is turning out. I can totally see how people get addicted to Minecraft building. I love how this turned out, and it was probably the easiest one to make. I don't know if that's just because I'm getting better at building these as I go along. The outside is done, all the decorating is done, and now I need to fill this thing up with everything you need to make a forge, because it doesn't matter if you've got a farm and you've got food and you can enchant all your stuff if you don't have something to make the stuff to enchant. Thank God for encased chain drives, because if it weren't for these things, then making bulk blasters would be way more of a pain. I guess I'm just using encased chain drives for literally everything in here. They're too good. I didn't believe in these when I first started playing with Create, and I just used way too many gearboxes. I have no idea why. Maybe because they're a bit more annoying to make, but these really saved this entire build. Do I have fire spread turned on this world or turned off? I'm gonna be honest, I actually have no clue if that is on or off. So instead of potentially burning down this entire building here, I don't know how else you do it other than this. So if this stuff does burn, I have fire spread turned on. This is extremely promising so far, but I'm actually just gonna sit here and essentially watch paint dry because I have to be sure. There's no way fire spread is turned on. If it hasn't burned by now, if there's nothing that has been ignited by all of this, there's no way it's on. I'm also realizing now that I could have done one bucket in the center and it would have been fine. Normally, I do a bucket for every single fan because you can see that the lava's moving and stuff, but in here, because you're only seeing it from the bottom up, it legitimately does not matter, so didn't need to burn those blocks. Now I can say that the forge is done, so this is being powered by 2 large water wheels, again with a nice little pond over here. I'm a huge fan of this design. We're not going to talk about the fact that it makes no sense because there's just water up there and normally it would be flowing from somewhere, but either way, it makes more sense than when there's only water on 2 of the blocks at the bottom there, so that's a win. And then inside, this stuff is mostly for decoration. Obviously, you got your anvils, maybe you need to use those, and they do break, so that's why you got a couple of them and one hiding back there. But for create stuff, the most important, there is a bulk blaster right here. I don't know if I would ever be able to use 9 of these. Maybe if I'm cooking down a bunch of cobblestone into stone, but regardless, I think this looks really cool. So if I put this right there, it should get bulk blasted. And then if I take this and I put it here, it's gonna get turned into iron sheets in 15 years, but it's gonna happen, and that's the important part. I will say though, I think so far this is my favorite building. This is probably the most functional. I really like how this one looks inside, and I like how it looks on the outside too. I just love this stuff. And speaking about functionality, I am running a little bit low on bread. I've burned through like over a stack doing this video, so all I gotta do is come in here and I've got 31 bread. I'm actually really surprised by that. What is going on here? Why is this stopped? What happened? I don't understand this. I'm gonna be fully legit. I have played with Create for like 3 years now, basically since it was released. Maybe that's 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. I have no clue what's going on here. I really don't want to disassemble and reassemble this though, because I'm gonna have to re-hoe the land. Did any of these farms stop over here, or are these still going strong? Yeah, we got potatoes, nice. Carrots, where clearly a mob trampled it, nice. Okay, and then we've got the regular, okay, I didn't trample it, nice. So none of those stopped. I have no idea what that is. If you guys know why that stopped, I would love to know. But now I gotta go grab the stuff so I can fix the dirt that I just messed with. One of the nice things about building more and more stuff in the village is, it makes it a lot easier to figure out where the next build is gonna go, because at this point, got something there, there. Pretty much the only space left in the village that doesn't have something is right over in this corner here. I'm definitely starting to run low on some supplies here, but I got my inventory filled and I should have everything I need to make the last and arguably most important large create mod building, which is going to be the workshop. I can't believe I ran out of regular oak logs, and here I am manually chopping down trees to be able to finish the build. This is the most random thing ever, but this has been bothering me the entire time I've been building the workshop, and I'll get to that in a second, but this wheat right here has grown a fair bit since I first saw it, but like 10 minutes ago, everything else around it was fully grown, and this was stage 1 or 2. But regardless of the wheat's feelings, this is what will soon be the finished Create Mod workshop, which is arguably the single most important building in the entire village, because this is where all of the basic create machines are going to go. So inside, I'm not working with a ton of room again, but this is going to have the presses, the mixers, the crafters, and I guess speaking of obvious things, it's probably pretty obvious how I'm going to power all this stuff. What is this? I just got an advancement. Desperate measures drastically slow down a mechanical crafter to procrastinate on proper infrastructure. Excuse me? I think these are running at a plenty sufficient pace for having a singular windmill powering this entire building. The Create Mod workshop is done. It is fully functional. The entire thing is powered by yet another windmill. I'm assuming you guys could guess that because of the large structure at the top that had nothing on it. And I really think that this ties the build together. The same goes for the farm over there. I think the moving part and it breaks up the color a little bit. I really like how it looks, but inside, I think it looks even cooler. So I've got the whole thing of mechanical crafters here, and you may notice they are 16 stress units, so these are now running at 8 RPM. And then I've got the mechanical press with a depot over here, the mechanical press with a basin over here. These aren't running crazy fast, and I already have some of these at the forge over there, but I figure might as well double, triple, quadruple up on them. And then over here, I've got 2 mixers with basins under them, and this one has a blaze burner in case you gotta superheat anything, although with the infrastructure of this village, I can't imagine anyone would be superheating anything, mainly because, you know, I've barely superheated anything. So again, I feel like the villagers wouldn't need to do that, but it's there in case they need to. And then I didn't cover up the ceiling just because at least this center part, I think it looks really cool. So now after many, many hours of building, the primary parts of the village are done. Obviously, there's a ton of open space that's still left, so I need to go through, add in tons of details, add in the paths everywhere, add in the regular villager houses, all that good stuff, and then kind of bring some villagers back here too so that they can live in this area. I think there's still one over here, right? Dude, it may be your job to repopulate the entire world. I hate to break it to you. Surprising as it may seem, I'm actually really excited to go and do all this detailing because I love how this looks right now, and the detailing is just going to make it look even better. So somebody cue in the montage. I spent so long working on this entire project because it's pretty big, and I could not be happier with how this all turned out. So the first additional thing that I added in is this mine right here, and you can tell because it's very clearly labeled, and obviously it's got a fully functioning elevator inside. It's not the fastest elevator, but it's an elevator, right? It works. We go down, and then we go back up. Like I said, it's very slow, but it's functional. You know, it's like a rickety old elevator, so thematically it's correct. Plus, I don't care if it's 1 RPM, I'd still take the elevator because I am just that lazy. On all these small villager houses that I built, I added in a source of rotational power on pretty much every single one, and I'm actually making use of the rotational power inside the house. I chose to show this one because I think this is the funniest one out of all of them, since the entire house is taken up by the stuff to run a mechanical mixer. Now that the whole village is done though, there's just one little problem. While I was building this, pretty much every single villager either ran away or died.